Judy Gonzalez is suing her sister, Myra Gonzalez, for driving her truck while she was in jail and for a loan so she could take a vacation.
All rise.
Yes, case number 177 on the calendar, the matter of Gonzalez versus Gonzalez. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
What's your first name?
Marty.
And yours?
Myra.
Your mother liked M's?
Yes, she did. All of us.
All
7 of us.
All M's?
Well, 5 kids and the 2 parents, all M's. 7.
All M's. According to the complaint, you made a loan to your sister when she was having some difficulty in the amount of $2,500. You want that money back. And then you were incarcerated for a period of about 2 months and claimed that she used a truck that belonged to you without your permission, and she wrecked it. You were paid by the insurance company for your wrecked truck, but you believe that she should compensate you for the time that she used the truck without your permission.
Correct.
Ms. Gonzalez says that she had your permission to drive the truck and that the $2,500 that she acknowledges that you gave her was a gift because you were a sister and helping her out. First, because I'm a curious person, what were you in jail for?
I had a confrontation with the school official, and with 9/11, they consider that a terrorist threat anytime you fight with the official.
Is that the first time you were incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
Must have been some confrontation.
It was.
Was it about you or about a child?
My children. I wanted to take them out of school, and they wouldn't let me.
Why?
Their dad has primary custody, and he instructed the school officials not to let me take them without his permission. But that was the day that I was supposed to have them. He called the school, told them not to let them
go with you.
With me, correct.
Got it. Satisfied my curiosity. So you were incarcerated for 60 days.
Correct.
Now, prior to that, you told me that in your complaint that you made a loan to your sister. Tell me about the loan.
Well, it was against my best wishes. I was incarcerated. I had only contact with my older sister, Maria, who's sitting over there.
So you made this loan to her while you were in jail?
Correct. While I was down, depressed, upset.
Well, tell me about that.
During the time I was being incarcerated, my sister Myra and her husband had refinanced their home for $40,000. I guess it was a surprise to her, but he took off with the $40,000 and her best friend, who he had been seeing for a year, and she used to take care of her son while they used to go out together. So anyway.
That's a lot of information that I really didn't need.
Okay, so my sister Maria asked me on 2 different occasions that Myra had no money and no car, and she was going to be out in the street because she lost her job because she was depressed and upset and all that. So even though I told my sister, I don't want to do it, I know what's going to happen, my sister Maria kept coaxing and pushing, you're the only one that can help her, you're the only one. I had no job, I'd been fired, I was in jail, but yet I was the only one of 5 kids who could help her. So I did it.
You must have had money from something. Where did you have the money from? I
always have savings. I'm an auditor, I'm an accountant. I always have a little stashed away.
So you were in jail at the time that this agreement was made?
Correct.
But so far, you're just telling me that you had conversations with your older sister. You're the older sister?
Yes.
Nothing with the defendant?
Correct. Until after I got out of jail.
Okay. So I want you to tell me how you got the money to your sister.
My sister Maria, I was out in between the 60 days. I gave her my savings.
What do you mean you were out?
I went in twice because I had a little problem with the roommate, so we were both taken to jail. But anyway, they took me back on the first offense. So during that time, I gave my sister permission. I gave her power of attorney to take care of my business while I was incarcerated because I didn't want...
You gave your older sister that authority?
Yes, and I gave her my money to put in her bank account to pay my bills while I was incarcerated because I didn't know how long they were going to keep me there. I didn't want anything to be repossessed or foreclosed on.
Okay, do you have that power of attorney? Do you have all the paperwork?
No, I don't have the power of attorney. I didn't think I was going to need that part. No, ma'am.
You have a check?
Yes, I have a check register that shows...
I don't want to see the check register. I want to see your return check.
That would have been with my sister Maria, and I asked her to get them. She never got them to me, but I don't think either one are denied the fact that she did take the money.
I want to see a bank statement showing that the $2,500 was taken out. The check register is not proof of anything.
I asked her.
You're an accountant.
Yes,
You're
I
an
asked,
auditor.
Correct. But it wasn't in my hands. It was her account that she was in charge of.
Just a second. They had to take the money out of your account, madam, in order to put it in her account.
No, I took it out myself while I was out in the middle of my 60 days.
Show me from your account. Just show me from your account, Miss Gonzalez. Show me from your account that you took out money. I understand that she doesn't have to bring proof because she doesn't have to prove anything to her account. But your check register is not proof of anything. I could write something down in a check register and never have
That's
check
true.
that.
That's correct.
Right. So show me.
I don't have that because I didn't think that they weren't disputing the fact that I actually.
I need it.
I don't have it, ma'am. I don't have that part. I don't have that.
Well, that's a big part. That's the main part of your lawsuit. It would seem to me that you would bring all of that information. It sure does. Now, let's get to the truck. When did you take physical possession of this truck?
When she was incarcerated. The reason I took it is because she had sold the truck to one of her tenants, and I happened to get the truck because she told my sister, I need the truck back and the expedition. So I went out of my way, brought her expedition back because, I mean, she didn't know what was going on with that. And
Well, how could you take it back if you just told me she sold it to one of her tenants?
Because she told my sister that she didn't remember selling it to this one person. And he gave me the pink slip. He said, yes, Marty did sell it to me. Well, obviously she's saying no, he didn't want no problems.
So you're telling me that this tenant of Miss Gonzalez's said to you, here's the pink slip. She gave it to me for the truck that we're talking about, which means he had to have given us some money.
Well, I believe so too, but Marty told my older sister she didn't sell him the truck.
Well,
he didn't.
And how would he get the pink slip?
Exactly, that's what I say. Well,
How much did you get for this truck?
I didn't. But one of my roommates.
No. Listen to me very
in
carefully.
insurance.
In insurance.
9237.
What kind of truck was it?
It was a 95 Chevy double cab 4-wheel drive Silverado.
11 years old. Did you owe any money on it?
No, I didn't.
So you got $9,237, right? What do you want from your sister?
I'm not asking her for the money for the truck. She took my vehicle for 4 months without paying me any money,
You
no
were only
rent.
in jail for 2 months.
Correct. So she took my vehicle without my permission. She drove it. She had no car. So I think she should pay a rental fee. I never sold it to my roommate. You know, you don't always know the person 100% who you're renting a room to. So anyway, he was doing all kinds of dealings while I was incarcerated
I'm not
after the
talking
fact.
about it. I'm just trying to figure out who the players are in this case. And it's coming around very quickly who the players are.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Then why didn't you get it back?
I was in disarray myself, being
Miss
incarcerated.
Gonzalez, I don't think you've been in disarray for a minute in your life.
And later today,
You have to be drug tested in order to drive a truck.
Why do you think I'm on drugs?
claims her sister, Myra Gonzalez, drove her truck without permission. Marty also says Myra owes for a loan to take a vacation.
You did not have a contract with your sister.
No, I did not.
You did not have a rental agreement with your sister.
No, I did not.
And there is not a question in my mind that her use of the car did not devalue it for insurance purposes. Because if she took your car without permission, right?
Correct.
And if you told the police that she took your car without permission, your insurance company might very well have disclaimed on the policy and not paid you your $10,000. So you must have indicated that there was somebody driving your car who had permission to drive it. It was your sister. Didn't you tell that to the insurance company?
No, I told them that she was driving it. One of her...
Just a second. You told them that she was driving it. And did you tell your insurance company, by the way, who's your insurance company?
Liberty Mutual.
Did you tell Liberty Mutual that it was your sister?
Yes.
Did you tell Liberty Mutual that you had filed a claim with the police that your car had been stolen or taken without your permission?
No, ma'am.
You didn't tell them that?
No.
Well, why didn't you tell them that? If that's what you're telling me now, why didn't you tell them that your car had been stolen, taken without your permission?
Well, I knew where it was, but it was still without my authority.
Then why didn't you get it back?
I was in disarray myself, being incarcerated.
Miss Gonzalez, I don't think you've been in disarray for a minute in your life. I think that you're in very much control of what goes on around you. You got paid almost $10,000 for this truck.
But that's to replace it, not for her renting of it.
She didn't rent it. You had no rental agreement with her. And you had adequate opportunity once you got out of jail after 60 days to get it back if you wanted it back. The case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
My sister is used to taking advantage of people,
From day one, she's always been greedy.
And she goes around boasting about all the cheating
It's just her way of being.
and lying that she does to other people.
It has to be her way or no way.
I loaned her the money. I was the only one there to loan her money.
She helped me out. I also helped her out when she was incarcerated.
And this is how I get treated. I don't get a dime back.
Even till this day, she hasn't even said, oh, thank you for coming down.
So since I was the good guy, then I guess I got to pay for it, not once but twice.
It's just a win-win situation always for her.
Oh, I don't want to have any dealings with her.
I have no idea. Time will tell.
I hate to say what I would tell her if I saw her right in front of my face.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Oric versus Galvin. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Justin Oric is suing his former friend, 19-year-old Drew Galvin, for knocking over his Ninja motorcycle. Drew says the bike was parked in the wrong spot.
Mr. Oric, you were at a party in the defendant which you had driven to the party. Mr. Galvin says that the motorcycle was in fact damaged, but it was your fault because you parked it in the wrong place. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell me what happened, Mr. Oric.
I got off work about 9 o'clock. I called my friends, and they all said they were over at some girl's house, so I got directions over there. And I pulled up over there.
On your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of motorcycle is it?
It's a 1997 ZX7R Ninja 750.
Sounds very impressive. How much did you pay for it, sir?
About $3,500.
When did you purchase it?
In August of '05.
Okay.
I parked it, and he was sitting on the back of his car, and he was pretty intoxicated, and he let me know that. And
How did he let you know that?
Well, I shook his hand. He's like, "How's it going?" He's like, I could smell it, and he's like, "I'm pretty drunk," And I was just like, all right, whatever, that's fine. And I walked into the house because that's where pretty much everyone was. And I was sitting in there talking, and everybody heard this crash. I got up and ran over to the door. I noticed my motorcycle laying on the ground. He was over there trying to pick it up. Helmet was rolling around in a big puddle of water, and trying to figure out what was going on. He said he was sitting on it, and it fell over on one side, and that he went to pick it up, and it fell over the kickstand onto the other side, and that's the crash that we heard. And I just told him I wanted the money and everything. He was intoxicated, so he got all mad and started trying to fight. He's like, I'll fight you over it right now.
What were you going to fight him over, sir?
I never said that, but that's beside the point.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
19 is too young to have any children, sir. You have to find something else to do other than drink and make babies.
Yes, ma'am.
Go to the library. Expand your mind.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Justin Oric claims former friend Drew Galvin knocked over his Ninja motorcycle. Drew claims the bike was illegally parked.
Why were you so drunk?
Actually,
How old are you?
I'm 19 years old. That's what's so silly about
You're
this
19.
whole thing.
Just a second.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be in control of this courtroom, Mr. Galvin, you or me?
You.
Right. So first stand up and take your hands off the table. Very good. You're 19. You can stand on your own 2 feet. That would be perfect. So why would a 19-year-old boy get so drunk? Is there nothing else to do in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, pretty much. There's nothing there. There's cows and, people with nothing to do.
So they drink?
The majority of them, yes.
You drink?
On occasions, yes.
Well, but you were drinking on May 6th.
Yeah, I had a little.
Did you go to school? Do you work? What do you do to
Yes,
occupy
ma'am.
yourself?
I work.
You work for whom?
Razorback Car Wash in Bryant for right now, but...
I didn't understand a word you said.
Razorback Car Wash in Bryant.
Razorback Car Wash. Okay, for right now.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, whenever I get back, I'm going to be in the heat and air business. I've already got a job.
Great. And you're going to stay in Benton?
Me and my fiance are trying to figure that out now.
You're 19 and you have a fiancé?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have any children, do you?
No, ma'am.
None expected?
No, ma'am. We were pregnant but had a miscarriage.
19 is too young to have any children, sir. You have to find something else to do other than drink and make babies.
Yes, ma'am.
Go to the library. Do they have a library in Benton?
Yes, ma'am, there actually is. I've been there quite a few times.
Have you? How
Yes,
many
ma'am.
times?
I'd say whenever I was in school, about almost every other weekend.
You mean when you stopped going to school, you stopped going to the library?
No, ma'am, I started working a lot.
Well, but you still have time. You had time to get drunk, sir. I would suggest you spend your time in the library. You had time to make a baby, right? You had time to go to the library. There are other things that you can do
Yes, ma'am.
other than drinking and procreating at age 19. You can expand your mind, expand your horizons,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Galvin. Now, you don't really want to tell me that it was the bike's fault that it fell down because it was parked in the wrong place, do you?
Well,
you really
sort of.
want to tell me that, Mr. Galvin? You look like such a nice young man.
I have
Misguided, perhaps, but a nice young man.
I have pictures of the spot where my car was and his bike right behind it. Like, it is a one-person parking spot. But I was on my way around the car whenever I tripped over it.
Mr. Orrick says that when he got to the party, you were sitting outside on your car.
No, actually, I was inside talking to Danielle.
No, you weren't, sir, because you were too drunk to know what in the world you were doing.
Well, I mean, if I was that drunk, how come the cops didn't write me? And in the police report anywhere, it doesn't say.
Why would they do that? You weren't driving.
I told him not to.
Shh.
Okay.
You weren't driving. He didn't want to get you into any trouble. That's not my question. You know how much you were drinking? Well, at least at the beginning you knew how much you were drinking. Did you end up staying at the house?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I did. My belt was stolen.
Just a second. You ended up staying at the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
In the bed with the girl that I was seeing at the time.
This was in May?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it the same girl that you're affianced to now?
No, ma'am. It's not.
So between May of 2006 and now, we have had a new fiancé and an almost baby. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Listen, you paid $3,500 for the bike, according to you, maybe, more than a year ago.
Yes, ma'am.
You want $4,200 to fix it. That's not going to happen. Do you understand?
Can I explain why?
Yeah,
sold
sure.
It? The guy sold it to me for that because he was scared of it. He said he was going to get put in jail or killed on it. It has like well more than $3,500 worth of work in it. It's got a crate motor. It's been lowered. Custom paint, custom exhaust. It's pretty much a show bike. So it's worth more than $3,500. Is what I'm trying to say.
Can I see the estimate to fix it, please?
Yes, ma'am. There's 2 parts estimates and 2 paint estimates in there. There's the damage.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Orrick?
I work for AutoZone, but I'm a full-time college student as well.
Where'd you get the money to buy this?
I worked hard for it. I had a dirt bike that I sold for it, and it's hard work.
Oh, it's a beauty.
Thanks.
I mean, I wouldn't get on one of these things. I like to have a whole bunch of steel around me.
Yeah.
There are a lot of crazies on the road.
Yeah, there is.
So I like to be in a Sherman tank when I'm on the road. But I know that a lot of people like these things, including my husband, who lusts after one.
Really?
He'll continue to lust after one. All right. Mr. Galvin, where are you going to be next weekend?
At my house?
No. Where are you going to be next weekend?
The
Library.
The library, yes, ma'am.
Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,200. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Like I said, I tripped over it.
I'm pretty sure it's just an accident.
We're still friends as far as I know.
No hard feelings.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Longobardi versus Alba. Step forward, please.
21-year-old Jacqueline Longobardi is suing her former online friend, 20-year-old Louis Alba, for an unpaid loan and for publishing risque photos of her on the internet.
Ms. Longobardi, according to your complaint, you met the defendant online when you were having some marital difficulties.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were still living with your husband, but you began an online chatting situation with the defendant, and it is your claim 2 things happened. First, that he borrowed some money from you. Not a lot of money, but you want it back.
Yes.
And second, you claim that very foolishly you sent him some photographs of yourself, photographs that you would not want published.
Yes.
And he published them
Yes,
on
Your
the
Honor.
internet. So you want to be compensated for that.
Yes.
Let's get the photographs first.
Okay.
Had you met him personally before you sent him the photographs?
No, I haven't.
Well, why in the world would you do something so stupid?
Yeah, it was an awful mistake.
Well, it was an awful mistake, but you sent him the photographs.
I felt like I really trusted him and that he cared
Why
about
would
me.
you really trust somebody that you never met?
Yeah, I was naive.
Well, you were, but you don't get compensated for that in the court.
Yeah, but he showed my family and my friends. It wasn't right for him to do that. They were
It wasn't
very personal.
right.
I know, it wasn't.
Absolutely, it wasn't right.
Yeah.
But you can't stop him. You gave him the photographs. You gave him the photographs and you said, here, look at what you're missing. Stupid. That you don't get compensated for.
Yeah.
Now, just for my own information, why would you take these photographs and do anything to embarrass her?
I didn't take no photographs and embarrass her. The
What'd
only
you do with
photograph I had of her was her in a nightgown, and even that didn't show anything.
So what did you do with it?
I erased it. I deleted it as soon as she started getting depressed because I didn't love her.
You mean you put it on whatever you do with that machine that I don't operate?
No, I deleted them.
Okay. All right. So I don't even have to deal with the photographs. Because whether you publish them or not, they're his photographs.
Well, she did. I mean, they show my mother, my husband.
Well, that was your stupidity.
Yeah.
You showed them to a stranger.
Well, we were talking for months. I mean, it wasn't something I just instantly did.
I knew you for
He's a stranger.
He built up a lot of trust. And
he's a stranger.
Stranger danger.
I mean, people who use this internet are so stupid. I just don't understand it. More and more, you hear more and more people falling into traps. People that they've never met. It's just mind-boggling to me how people could be so stupid. But anyway, I don't compensate people for being stupid, madam. So if you sent pictures to him, this stranger that you had never met, that you wouldn't want your mother to see, that's your problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, let's get to the money. When did you allegedly loan him money?
On April 10th, 2006.
How much money did you allegedly lend him?
$270.
Did you receive $270?
Yes.
What did you need the money for?
Well, actually, I needed $1,000 to hire a programmer for a personal business I wanted to run. But with the $270, I couldn't do anything.
So why didn't you return it?
I didn't because she said she was going to sell her car and help me with the $1,000. So I just kept it in the savings account.
So you mean you have it?
Or currently, no.
Well, what'd you do with it?
I paid internet bills and I had some other stuff I had to pay. So I just used it for that.
Well, that wasn't your arrangement with her, was it?
We never really had an arrangement. She just gave it to me as...
Well, no, she gave it to you because she said you needed it for your business.
Yes.
You didn't use it for your business.
I couldn't use it for business. I needed $1,000, not $270.
Listen to me. You didn't use it for your business.
Yes, I know.
So why didn't you return it to her?
Because she told me to hold on to it until she can give me the rest of the $1,000. So over the months I was waiting for
Well, now she's not giving you the rest of the $1,000.
I know, and I told her if she would have asked me or contacted me, I could have gave her her money back.
I did contact.
Don't interrupt.
I'm sorry.
She didn't even contact me.
Well, now she contacted you. Surprise,
Yeah.
you're here. What did
And
you
I even
think
told
you were
her.
coming here for?
I even told her that
What
I'd
did you
give her
think
her
you
money
were-
back if she would just call off this case, because it's just a waste of time.
Of course it's a waste of time, sir.
Yes.
You asked if...
Yes.
Doesn't that hair in front of your face bother you?
No.
I must tell you, Mr. Alva,
Yes.
it bothers the people looking at you.
They don't like it?
Well, I don't like it.
Oh.
Feel as if I'm looking at you through a curtain.
Yeah.
You owe her $270, smarty pants.
Yeah.
You took advantage of her.
No, I didn't take advantage of her.
Listen to me.
But I
don't
didn't.
Don't answer me back. Who is this?
Oh, she was my witness at the time she gave me the $270.
Just a
She
second.
was there.
And who is this?
Which one?
Him.
Him? That's her father. He has nothing to do with the case.
Then what is he here for?
I don't even know. I don't even know why he's here.
You know, Mr. Alva, maybe if you had a more reasonable hairdo, you'd figure out what was going on, which way was up. You owe her $270. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't take advantage of nobody.
All he wanted was money.
She gave me the $270 and that was it.
Pressuring me constantly, just trying to get that grand out of me.
Only picture I got from her was her in a blouse.
It was a mistake of mine. I deserved it.
Even that, I wasn't even wanting any more of her.
The internet isn't a safe place, absolutely.
Don't trust girls.
We'll never trust anybody. I've never.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now, why do you think Miss Andrews would have been interested in that?
Because of my good looks.
Excuse me.
Shut up.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak not.
Andrews is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Anthony Sellers, for a loan. Anthony claims Jolie is infatuated with his good looks. Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, Mr. Sellers.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm just never going to show up there no more.
I'm very happy. He got what he deserved.
And now the next case. Doherty is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Michael Candell, for money owed on a credit card. Jennifer claims she used her credit to help Michael pay off his debt.
He used to be your boyfriend. According to my complaint, you tell me that you consolidated all of his high-interest credit cards on a new credit card that was a low interest rate, unfortunately, in your name. Then you broke up.
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
And according to you, he didn't pay you.
Yes, he paid me $300 of the balance.
Mr. Candell says that he... Candell?
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Says that he paid you back everything that you agreed on. How long was he your boyfriend?
3 years.
Do you work?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a nursing assistant at a Frankfurt Torso hospital, and I'm a cake decorator at a local bakery, and I babysit part-time. And I'm going into my senior year of nursing school.
And what about you, sir?
I bartend, and I work at a hospital doing transportation.
Who do you live with?
I live with my mom and my 2 brothers.
So you don't have big expenses?
No, I give my mom money each month to help
How
pay.
much?
Usually $250 a month. Plus, I pay for a car.
Whose car?
Well, it's in my mom's name, but I pay for it.
Because you drive it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Now tell me why you got yourself in the hole with these credit cards, sir.
Well, I wasn't really in the hole. I was able to afford them each month. We were going on a trip. Well, my friend was getting married in Jamaica. She wanted to go out. I told her I didn't have the money. I was waiting for my income tax check to come in to help pay off the bills. And she's like, well, I want to go. I'll pay for it, like, as a present. So I was like, all right, that's fine.
Just a minute. This is your friend who's getting married in Jamaica.
Yeah, well, we're both our friends.
Your friend or hers?
My friend, but she's friends with him through me.
When was the last time you saw this friend?
Yesterday.
When was the last time you saw this friend?
This morning, because he's here.
Really? He's here for what?
I guess support for him.
Where is he?
Somewhere around, I don't know. He's hanging out somewhere around.
Well, what'd you bring him for?
Just we're going to L.A. It was like, all right, let's go hang out.
There are days I like this job better than others. Okay, so it's your friend, and you saw him this morning?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
You didn't see him yesterday?
No.
No. You brought him out here, so I assume he remains your friend. You got custody of him after the breakup. And you were expecting an income tax check.
Yeah. Yes.
But she said, I'll give you this trip to Jamaica as a present.
Yeah. Yes.
And how much were you getting back?
$1,100 and some odd dollars.
What did you do with the income tax refund?
It went right into her bank account.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, great. How much was put all on this one credit card of hers that had low interest?
I think it was like $1,800 and some dollars.
How much was it?
It was $2,336.78.
Show him.
Yeah, I don't wear Victoria's Secret, though.
No, that's mine. That's why it's not highlighted.
Just the highlighted items, sir. Read just the highlighted items.
Now?
To yourself.
Okay.
Now, do any of those highlighted items look as if they're not your charges?
Well, the one thing is the Sprint Wireless. I gave her money back. I paid her that aside, like we were agreed, $100 a month, and I gave her that back.
So you want me to deduct the Sprint Wireless from that? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
And how much is the Sprint Wireless?
$214.61.
Okay. Anything else there that doesn't look right?
No.
All looks right then. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Mr. Kendall, I just have a question. Does your hair do that naturally, or do you have to work on it in the morning?
Oh, it's hard.
Hard. Okay. Now, how much did you pay her back?
Well, the $1,100 from my income tax. And
did she give you back $1,100 for his income?
No, we did not. I went towards to pay off the trip. I did not take him for a present to his friend's wedding.
No, I don't believe that you did. There's no question in my mind that you did not take him as a present to his friend's wedding.
Exactly.
Okay. How much was the trip to Jamaica?
$1,640 apiece.
$1,640. And how much did he pay you back for that?
He gave me $1,100 towards it, and then he paid the rest himself.
He did pay the rest
Yes,
himself?
he did.
Okay, so we're just talking now about the credit card.
Yes, we are.
Mind.
What?
I didn't pay the other $500.
Yes, you did.
Shh. What other $500?
The $1,100 I gave her out of the income tax check. She paid the other $500. I never paid that.
Yes, you did. You gave me money.
Shh. Don't answer him.
Okay.
Well, you don't want me to make an order for more money, do you?
I mean, it was she told me, she's like, I'll take you out here,
Listen to me. I don't believe she took you as a present to your friend's wedding.
Okay.
I want you to understand that. We're moving on from that. Now, she's only dealing with the credit card bills that you looked at, which total, according to you, deducting the Sprint, $21.22. Did you pay her any money from that?
Yes.
How much?
I was giving her $100 each month.
For how long?
3 months. I gave her $300 so far.
Well, If the trip to Jamaica was $1,640 and you gave her $1,100 and you gave her an additional $300, that's $1,400. You still owe her a couple $100 for Jamaica, plus the $2,122.
But the Jamaica thing was a trip. The thing is, with that...
I just told you.
I understand, but the thing is, once we broke up, she started sleeping with one of my friends, and
No, it has nothing to do with that.
She basically, we had a break up, and she...
Listen, my microphone went over here where it shouldn't be. Mr. Kendall, I don't care whether she slept with the King of Siam. I'm talking about 2122 in credit card bills, sir.
I thought it was 2036.
2122. I've given you credit for the Sprint bill.
Oh, okay, cool.
2122. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
I'm just glad it's over and done with, and I can go on with my life and pay off the credit card and get rid of it.
We had a break up.
We broke up. We were having some problems, but I'm glad we're over and done with.
She's crazy.
I wouldn't say that it's a waste of 3 years of my life, but I definitely learned from the 3 years that I've been with him.
She's done it over.
Try to pick and choose who my boyfriend is. Try to pick better.
19-year-old Angelica Heron is suing her mother, Valerie Tyndall, for an unpaid loan. Valerie...
You were there?
Yes.
So, okay, you sit down. So anyway, I paid off his school bills for his daycare. I caught up on some other bills. Then we scheduled the trip for Orlando. I got a job. It didn't work out. I didn't know when I was going to receive my paycheck. It was due to come before we were supposed to go to Universal Studios, which that money would have paid our other expenses. I told her we would have to push the trip back because we didn't have the money to go, and she got quite angry about that.
I got the picture. What did she do with the rest of the $22,000?
She partied, Your Honor. She did a lot of partying.
Who is this young lady?
That is her friend.
That she's living with?
I assume so, Your Honor.
You living together?
Sometimes.
Basically.
What is that? Sometimes, basically, what is that? Who's going to answer my question?
No, I'm not living with her.
Who are you living with?
Nobody. I sleep on whatever couch is available. I don't have anywhere to be.
Get a job.
I'm trying.
Get a life. Get responsible. And stop blaming everybody else for your misfortune. The only problem is they shouldn't have given you all this money when you turned 18. They should have waited until you were 25 so that you didn't blow it. Because right now you're going to get all this money because you think, I don't have to work. What do I have to work for? 6 months I'm going to get another $20,000. 6 months I'm going to get another $20,000. I'll worry about it later. That's a baby talking.
It's not like that, though.
Listen to me. Have you had a steady job
Yes.
in the last year?
I did.
When?
I had my own apartment for 7 months.
Tell me when you had a steady...
From September of 05 until February of 06.
Where did you work?
I worked at Applebee's and Red Lobster.
So why did you leave that job?
Because I came to Michigan to be with my son.
Are you telling me you were working full-time as a waitress, I assume?
No, I was a cook and a dishwasher.
So why didn't you get that kind of a job when you moved in with your mother?
I tried. You can even
Miss
ask
Heron,
her. She told me not to get a job. She told me to spend quality time with Dylan so we could get our bond back together. That's exactly what she said.
Very good. Get a life. And if I were you, I'd get a financial person to take the money, the next check that I get. And when are you supposed to get the next check?
When I'm 21.
Oh, so you got to wait a little bit. Got to wait 2 years.
The only reason I got this check sooner is because I went through a settlement funding to get it sooner, so I could do something.
Oh, so they discounted your settlement. Huh?
Yes.
So how much are you going to get?
When I'm 21, I get $10,000. When I'm 25, I get $15,000.
So they gave you a total of about $50,000 for $100,000.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Genius. Goodbye. Get lost. Your case is dismissed. Go. Have a happy life. Don't give that baby back to her.
I'm not going.
Good.
Okay, no, wait, no.
It breaks my heart because I'm not trying to keep her son from her. She talks to him on the phone. He's here, right here in the studio. I told her that she could see him.
She didn't tell me anything. She just stayed and just left. Like she's trying to erase me out of his life or something.
Under advisement from a therapist that he is seeing, he advises me to keep him away from her.
I want my baby.
She needs to grow up and fix her life.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Guerriero versus Chase. Step forward.
Stephen Guerriero is suing the mother of his daughter, Joanne Chase, for a loan to move. Stephen says Joanne took the money, but never moved.
Mr. Guerriero, you and Miss Chase have a 12-year-old daughter together.
That's correct.
The child is currently in your custody.
Yes.
And has been so for the last year.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. It is your claim that you made a loan to Miss Chase at a time when she was in need, and you want that money back. The loan was $1,000. Miss Chase acknowledges that you gave her $1,000 about a year and a half ago. You'll give me the exact date, but she said the money was not given as a loan. It was given in order to protect your daughter, who was then living in an unhealthy situation with Miss Chase and her husband. Why did you need money, Miss Chase?
Because I needed to move out of my home that I was living in to get my own apartment with my daughter.
What did you say to him when you called him?
I asked him to loan me $1,000 to move out, to get my own apartment, which he wasn't happy with me living with my husband. So I asked him to loan me the money, and on contingency of us selling our home, I would pay him back.
Well, when did you add this little contingency?
When I asked
Look
him...
at me. Don't look on the floor.
I'm sorry.
And, you know, certain things make sense and certain things don't. So, Ms. Chase, make sure you don't tell me anything that doesn't make sense, because if it doesn't make sense, it's not true.
He knew that I was going to be selling.
Don't tell me what he knew. I just want to hear what was said.
Okay. I asked him to loan me the $1,000 and that I would pay him back as long as I sold my home.
Did she say to you, can you loan me $1,000 until I sell the house?
That's partially correct, Your Honor.
Okay. She said, until I sell the house.
Well, there was a contingency made after I reluctantly gave her the money, and I did give her the money, of course, because our daughter's safety was at hand. The first thing was, if she sold the house, I would give the money in full. If she didn't sell the house, then once she got on her feet and got everything straightened out, she'd make payments, and I was fine with that, even if it was $5 a week.
Sounds reasonable. So, you gave her the $1,000, you moved out.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Well, she didn't move out. That was the issue at hand.
Why didn't you move out?
I did move out.
When?
It wasn't right then, but it was within 6 months. I did.
Well, what'd you do with the $1,000 for 6 months?
I used it to move out, but it was just, you know, I had to wait. My children were in school. I had 3 girls.
No, they weren't in school in July. 6 months later, they were in school, but they weren't in school in July.
There was a lot of things that were going on that I couldn't just move out at the current time that he had just given me the money.
What did you do with the money? Is my question, Ms. Chase.
Well, I did use it to move out, but it wasn't right
that
month.
You held on to it and put it in a bank account and held on to it for 6 months?
No, I didn't put it in a bank account.
So what'd you do with the money?
I guess I saved it at the house.
So, why don't you pay him back?
Because I didn't sell my house.
And what are you doing now?
I live by myself and I work.
Good. Pay him back.
I don't have it. I'm not in any financial position to pay him back.
When he was paying child support to you, how much was he paying you?
I don't even remember.
He does.
It was $52 a week, Your Honor. And I'm receiving $11.50 a week from Miss Chase, which she's a little bit behind.
When he was paying you $52 a week, did you think that that was enough to help support your daughter?
No.
I thought that that was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
$11.50 is even less.
Correct, but he should get a job. I mean, you know, he doesn't work.
He's not living on your $11.50 a week.
Well, then he should get a job.
Well, he's living somehow.
Yeah, on Social Security.
That's not your problem. That's the government's problem if they're giving him Social Security.
Right, but I mean, I work and I also, you know, struggle myself to get child support from my daughter's father.
What does that have to do with the $1,000 you borrowed from him?
I don't know. You know, it's just hard because I do waitress and I have to, you know, work or else I can't pay my bills.
Right. You also have to pay back money that he loaned you. I have no idea what you did with the $1,000, but you certainly didn't use it to move out. I don't believe that you saved it, and I don't believe that you hid it in some cookie jar or some coffee can in your house until you were ready to use it.
No, I didn't, you know, but I did use it, you know, towards moving out when I did move out.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't have to get into any more of this sad tale. Suffice it to say, you owe him $1,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
You may step out.
Oh, thank God for Judge Judy. I think she made the right call.
He doesn't have anything better to do during the day than, you know, strum up ideas to ways to get money because he doesn't have a, you know, job.
I had a lot of evidence I wanted to bring up, but I didn't want to interject and have Judge Judy yell at me, so I kept my mouth shut.
Kathy Jesse is suing psychic Leon Legant for loans to take spiritual vacations. Kathy claims Leon has yet to pay the money back.
All rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor's case number 21 on the calendar in the matter of Jesse versus Legant. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
According to what I read in the complaint several years ago, you knew Mr. Legant, who was a psychic reader?
Yes, Your Honor.
And he owns a psychic school?
Correct.
How long had you known him?
I first met him in 1998.
How?
I saw an advertisement of his in a newspaper.
And have you been using him for readings since?
Counseling, yes.
What particular training do you have?
Clairvoyant training of a 1-year intensive, 3 years of teacher's training. I have over 6 years of training. I also have my certificates if you'd like to see those.
In any event, you wanted to take a trip. Mr. LeGrand was interested in going. We discussed it. He didn't have the money. According to you, you loaned him the money to go, and the understanding was that he would pay you back either in cash or readings.
True.
He went on the trip. For a while, he did, in fact, pay you back by doing readings. Somebody would keep a record of, I assume, of how much each reading was, and you would check off how much was left on the debt. At some point, he missed a scheduled appointment.
Well, actually, Your Honor, he was making payments also. There was no set schedule for our appointments. It was whenever we decided.
So he was paying in cash as well?
Actually, yes. That was mostly the agreement.
In check and or cash?
He would deposit it directly into my account, and sometimes he paid in cash, and sometimes he wrote a check. I have the deposit slips.
I'd like to see them.
Sure. It wasn't very friendly in terms of a social relationship. I mean, we knew each other professionally, and I trusted him as a teacher and my mentor.
All right, so I see you made some payments to her.
That's correct.
So you consider this a loan?
No.
Well, what was it for?
It was a donation.
No. What was the money that you paid her?
That was the interest. Initially, this is the third trip I've been on with Miss Jessie.
We're talking about only this one, sir.
Okay. So in this case, Miss Jessie wanted me to go on a second trip to the Philippines. I clearly explained to her that that was not something I could afford. So she decided to make a donation to the school so that the school could sponsor my trip. In exchange for that donation, she was to receive hours of readings. The payment she received was when she asked for me to cover the interest on her visa. And I agreed to do that. I was grateful for the donation. I was grateful for the donation. I have the donation right here. I have the check.
I see it clear.
It says donation with a big smiley face.
Were these paid out of a private account or the school account?
It was paid out of the school's account.
So all these checks were school checks?
Mm-hmm.
None yours?
Right.
You're not very clairvoyant, sir. Show this to the defendant, please. That's not the school's account, is it?
Oh, no. I may have used my own account to make a check payment. That's entirely possible.
What?
You didn't see that one coming, did
What?
you?
You didn't see that one coming at all? Show him this one.
Count.
One more. Uno más on this page.
Also, my account. Your Honor, the...
Stop! I'm not going to read your account number, sir, but it also appears that when cash was deposited directly into her account, it was deposited directly into her account with the same numbers on the accounts that were on these checks.
Can I see that?
Yes, certainly. Here you go.
Huh, that's interesting. Because when I called the bank to get copies of this so that I would know in preparation for you, they explained to me there was no way to trace that information.
Well, you do see what I'm looking at, don't you?
I do see what you're looking at. And the agreement I had with her was to pay the interest on her card.
All I'm asking you is whether the cash and the checks that she ascribes to this loan came out of the school's account or out of your personal account.
Right.
So you would be saying now that it came out of your personal account.
Obviously. I believe there were others that were taken from the school's
I'm
account.
looking to see yours.
And
you have
like
any
I
proof?
said, the bank said they couldn't trace this information.
Listen to me, sir. Listen to me. show me any checks that you have from the school to pay her.
I don't have those.
I do, however, see some checks, sir, that just say Bank of America, and it looks like they're from a different account.
That's right.
So sometimes you paid out of your personal account, and sometimes you paid out of the school account. You getting my drift, sir?
Not fully.
Well, when you have a business and you start commingling money as to what is a business expense and what is not, you have a serious problem. And clearly, in looking over this paperwork, it appears to me as if you were commingling what you considered a business expense with a private debt. The IRS doesn't like that. You should know that.
I did what I could to make sure she received her interest payments in a timely manner.
Don't you make a living from this company?
Yes, I do.
Then you should have paid her. Not commingled funds. That's a very bad thing, Mr. LeGrand. With commingled funds, the IRS is going to come and get you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I left him a voicemail saying that, I think that this was unfair, and at which point he sent me an email.
I would like to see the copy of
Sure.
the email that you sent to her.
I was very angry.
And later today,
I hit the throttle, and the whole transom what the motor's mounted to almost broke right off the boat. And the gas tank came completely disconnected and spilled gas all over the floor of the boat.
Kathy Jesse claims psychic Leon Legant borrowed money from her and never paid it back. Leon says the loan was repaid with free psychic readings. He is countersuing for slander.
Can you tell me what happened that precipitated this lawsuit?
He had made his last payment in November, and in December he promised me a payment on December 20th. And I was counting on that, and it was Christmas time, and I didn't get the payment. And I had an appointment with him scheduled for the 22nd, which I was going to discuss the matter with him, and then he didn't show up for the appointment and didn't let me know.
Does he come to your house, or do you go to
No,
his
it's a
school?
telephone. It's a telephone.
It's a telephone?
Yes, we hardly ever see each other in person. And so I left him a voicemail saying that, I think that this was unfair and I should be treated better. And at which point he sent me an email saying that he really thought that was the most mean, vicious thing anybody had ever said to him. And he really, literally never talked to me again.
What did she say on the voicemail?
She was incredibly ugly. I never finished both voicemails because it was too irate and too mean, too vicious, attacking everything she could think of and everything she knew about me. Basically, what happened in the beginning of December, I was still working with her and giving her readings. She explained to me that she lost her job, she was afraid she was going to lose the mortgage on her house, that she was in an incredibly strapped financial position. She began asking me if I could borrow money from my aunt to pay this balance off, and I explained to her that the agreement was an exchange of readings. This was not
Well,
a
that's
loan.
not true, sir. That's not true, because there were payments made both out of the school's account and out of your personal account.
That was
to her.
interest.
That's what you say. That's not what I find. Keep going.
So she was explaining all of this to me. I explained to her that this was not the agreement, this was not what I was going to do. She pressured me for a number of weeks. She did ask me to make a payment on the 20th in December because 25th was a Sunday and also Christmas. I explained to her that I get paid on a certain date, it takes a number of days to clear the bank. I'll do the best I can to try to do that, but that may not happen. And that went in one ear, right out the other.
All right, good. Did you make a payment in January?
I did not make a payment in December.
Did you make a payment in January?
or
is my
January
question.
or since.
Right. Why not?
Because she threatened to sue me.
She didn't sue you in January, did she?
No, she filed, actually on January 20th, I was on the way to the bank because she had left these voicemails. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to handle this situation, and I told her that I would get back to her in January.
Well, so you were sort of jerking her around.
No.
Because you didn't pay the amount in December, because you said you get paid on a certain day, and you don't know whether it'll clear and whatever. All right, so you don't pay a December 20th, you don't pay a December 23rd. There's December 27th, December 28th, December 29th, December 30th, December 31st. She doesn't hear from you until January 20th?
No, she received an email from me explaining that I felt her messages were incredibly mean and
Well,
that
show me
I
the
would...
copy. You have the email? I would like to
Yeah,
see the copy
sure.
of the email that you sent to her.
I was very angry.
People who owe money usually are angry. Okay, so they were the meanest, cruelest, etc. her 2 voice messages, and you choose to cut her off and not have anything to do with her until the holidays are over in December, because you don't want to be bothered during the holidays
Because
with any
my mom
bad
was in a serious
with any bad
accident.
vibrations. And I'll let you know how I plan to handle the future in January. Well, what'd you do at the beginning of January, sir? The holidays are over.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to handle the situation. I wasn't sure how to do that. The 20th was coming by in January. I decided
what,
to
the
make
20th?
it the 20th of January.
Well, so you were thinking between January 2nd and January 20th.
That's right.
Let me hear you counterclaim, Mr. LeGrand.
After Miss Jessie complained about this December incident, she did request communication from me. I did say that I would communicate with her in January about the situation. Before I had a chance to do that, she went to my website. She scoured through all of the emails, addresses, everything she could get, and began emailing everybody from clients, students, about the situation. Very, very crazy emails.
Well, show me.
Sure. Here's one she sent to the travel agent. I'll give you all of them. And also, as far as missed appointments, that has happened in the past.
I'm not interested in that. All she does is talk to whoever she talks to about the fact that you owe her money.
These are my students
Who
that
cares?
she ripped off my website.
Who cares? Shouldn't have had them on your
It
website.
has
Feed
none
one.
of their business.
Listen to me. She's entitled to do that. She doesn't slander you, sir. She says that you have an honest dispute with her. She believes you owe her money, and you are not paying her the money that you owe her. She doesn't say anything scandalous about you. You may not like it, but she doesn't say anything that's actionable.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please explain to me how a school professing to be spiritual and ethical can attempt to steal this money loaned in good faith? That's the way she feels.
Yeah, it wasn't a loan.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, sir. I am the final arbiter of that, and I'm telling you that it was a loan. It was a loan because you repaid it. And you not only repaid it, some of it out of your funds and some of it out of school funds, which you can't do.
That's not correct.
Listen. Some of the people that you deal with, Mr. LeGrand, may revere you as being some sort of spiritual leader. I guarantee you, I'm not one of those people. All right? I'm telling you, you went on a trip, you slept, you ate, you took a plane, not the spirits, your body took the plane to the Philippines and had a nice trip. Pay for it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,697. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I missed an appointment.
I think that he has some talent,
She decided to use that as an excuse to refuse readings and demand money.
but that he needs to work a little bit more on his character.
Oh, I want to have nothing to do with her.
I think he's his own worst enemy, and he's on a self-destructive course.
Barbara Zeraldo is suing her daughter and son-in-law, Lisa and Raymond LaChance, for overdraft charges on their linked bank accounts.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 13 on the calendar in the matter of Zeraldo versus LaChance. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Zeraldo, this is your daughter and her husband?
Yes, it is.
And this is your granddaughter?
Yes, it is.
Clearly, from what I've read, you adore your granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
The first part of your lawsuit says that you loaned your daughter money to have your granddaughter's hair done for something, and she didn't pay you back. That was a while ago. I'm not dealing with that because of the second part of your lawsuit. Because the second part of your lawsuit says that you opened up a bank account for your granddaughter.
That's right, yes.
And you put some money in it, and that bank account was linked to your account.
Yes, it was.
And you gave her a bank card.
Yes.
So that when she needed money for things, she could go in and take out some money from the bank card.
Yes.
And at some point, someone overdrew that bank account, and they charged the linked account, which was yours.
Yes.
And you believe that your daughter should be responsible for that because she's the child's mother.
Yes, I do.
Who asked you to open this account for your granddaughter?
No one did. My daughter and her husband have gone through a lot of financial difficulty, and I know it's been very hard. So last September, I decided to open a bank account for Tasha so I could transfer money into her account when she needed it for things like lunch money or if she needed clothes or any emergency, as I felt she was at the age that she did need this extra money.
Oh, that's very nice of you, Miss Zeraldo. That's very, just a second.
Okay, sorry.
That's lovely of you. You tell your granddaughter, if you need money for clothes, you call Grandma.
That's right.
And I'll tell you to come on over, and I'll give you $20, $50, whatever you need, I want you to have it within reason.
Yes.
You live close by?
No, we don't. That's why I opened the account. And
How far away do you live?
35 miles.
Not the other end of the world. How often do you see your granddaughter?
Not as often as I'd like to.
Well, I understand that not
yes.
as often as you like. How often do you see her?
Maybe once every 2 months.
Okay. Sit down, please. I want your daughter up, please. What happened to the money, Tasha? Part of the thing that your grandmother is complaining about, my dear, is that she didn't receive a satisfactory explanation. See how red you're getting? It's going to be all over after today. Now you're going to tell me how that money got taken out of your grandmother's account. Your grandmother and you are going to be friends after today. She knows she made a mistake. Well, if she doesn't know it, I'm telling her that she made a mistake by giving a 15-year-old an ATM card, access to money. I wouldn't do it. They don't know what they're doing. They'll go and buy drugs. They'll go and buy things that our parents have no control over. Ridiculous. How did the account get overdrawn?
The night that...
Look at me right here.
The night that this must have happened, I was babysitting. And I lost my bank card on the Friday before that Sunday because I get off school early.
Did you tell your grandmother you lost the bank card?
No, because I thought maybe I would have found it or called the bus line and they might have found it or something.
What else did you lose other than the bank card?
Just some pictures and stuff that were in my wallet.
Did you lose your whole wallet?
Yes.
The whole wallet?
Yeah.
Did you report the wallet stolen to anyone?
Just I called the bus line and asked if they had found one.
Did you go and file a report anywhere?
Yes, at the police station.
Did the police report indicate that there was a bank card in there?
I told them that my bank card was in there.
Did you tell your parents that the bank card was in there?
Yes.
Did she?
Yes.
Did you tell your grandmother that the bank card was stolen?
No, because I didn't find out that somebody had done that to my bank, maybe a couple days after.
That's why you call her and say, please call and cancel the bank card.
I called and canceled the bank card.
You did?
Yes.
When?
Sunday night, because I figured if I didn't find it, then somebody might have done something with it, so I didn't want
When was the
anything
money
back.
taken out?
I don't know.
Before or after?
The Saturday.
Before?
Yes, before she reported the card gone. Yes.
Yeah. The only problem with your story, my dear, is that somebody had your PIN number.
I don't give out my PIN number at all.
Somebody had your PIN number. What?
Well, since she's done this, we've found out her PIN number. Sorry, since this has happened, we found out her PIN number. She never told us her PIN number. We didn't know it before the incident happened. We since have known what her PIN number was, and it wasn't the best choice of PIN numbers.
Which was?
Her birth year. So again, a 15-year-old...
And I had my wallet information in there that had that and my phone number. And
again,
stuff.
a 15-year-old not making a very good choice of a
Your PIN
PIN
number
card.
was 6 digits?
4 digits. She was born in 1990.
Ah, so that was your PIN number.
Hers, yes. Not a
Not
very smart choice. No.
That's why we don't do that, Miss Geraldo.
Well, the bank, that's why they're holding me responsible, because she used
Somebody
her birth date
had
as
a PIN number.
You're not allowed to use your birth date as PIN number.
Okay, now...
So they won't take responsibility. They say it's mine. I have to pay.
It is yours.
Yes.
It is yours. It's yours for giving a 15-year-old access to money, and it's your fault that it wasn't reported quickly enough when it first happened.
The only way I found out what was happening was the way I did the money. I would transfer it online for her, just $20 at a time. That's all she had access to. And I did it online. When I went online 2 days after this incident happened, I suddenly noticed this account was $500 overdrawn.
Mr. Geraldo, what you just said to me is ludicrous. If she only had access to $20 at a time, how come you were overdrawn $500?
Because what happened was whoever did this put an empty envelope with a note in it. The note said, F you back, and put it in the bank machine, then withdrew the $500.
Miss Geraldo,
yes.
I have 11 grandchildren, and I guarantee you that I love each and every one of them as much as you love Tasha. Yes. I wouldn't think of giving them a credit card at 15. No. I wouldn't think of giving them a bank account with access to money, because when they're 15 years old, they're stupid. They don't make good choices.
No, you're right, they don't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Either her friends, or whatever. Right?
And later today...
A Tuesday at 11. Is that your day off?
No, ma'am. I was laid off from work.
So why weren't you out collecting cans?
says her granddaughter, 15-year-old Tasha LaChance, is responsible for overdraft charges on their linked bank accounts. Tasha claims her ATM card was stolen.
I'm telling you right now that your mother is not responsible for this. So if you think she is, you are mistaken.
But she did tell me she would be responsible. She told me that she would pay me back.
I don't care what she told you, madam. I'm telling you that this is a court, and you chose to open up a bank account for a minor, the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. Ridiculous.
But could I explain, Judge Judy, the circumstances surrounding it?
You just told me. They were going through hard financial times. You wanted her to have some of the extras, and the best way for her to do that, you told me that. I listen. I absorb everything. And I'll tell you something else. If I ever opened up a bank account for one of my grandchildren, 15-year-old, and I did it between the two of us, my kids would be furious.
But she didn't have access to my accounts, Judge Judy. There was no access to my accounts.
They didn't have access to your account, but what you're complaining about is she overdrew that account and they took it out of your bank account.
Well, because an empty envelope was deposited in the bank machine.
Mr. Aldo, that's what happens when you entrust a 15-year-old who has friends, either her friends, or whatever. Right? Right?
Whatever.
Cookie?
Yes.
It's not your daughter's responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility for being a foolish grandma.
But I was lied to so much. There was 3 different stories going on.
I don't care whether 3 different stories. You're asking me to say that your daughter and her husband are responsible for something that either their daughter, her friends did, or that something happened where her wallet was taken and somebody else managed to get a PIN number from the information contained in that wallet. All very possible.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, you had no right to open up this bank account for her.
Yes,
and if you chose to do that, it's your responsibility.
It was an expensive mistake.
It was an expensive mistake, but don't try to blame it on somebody else. It was your mistake. Don't do it again.
No, I wouldn't.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm at the raw end of a deal.
She's the one that gave me the account.
And I paid out more money as usual.
It's not my fault somebody did that to me.
For people that don't want to be responsible.
Feels like she's blaming me for it.
Oh, I'll never help out again. Never.
I haven't talked to her since the whole thing happened.
I'm sorry, that's it for me.
I still want to talk to her, but I don't know if things will ever be the same.
Jay Sewell is suing her ex-husband, Scott Sewell, for a loan for attorney fees. Jay claims Scott has anger management problems.
All rise. Now, this is case number 10 on the calendar in the matter of Sewell versus Sewell. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Ms. Sewell, the defendant is your former husband.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been divorced for how many years?
2 years, ma'am.
How long were you married?
8 years.
Do you have children?
No, ma'am.
Who was the plaintiff in the divorce?
I was.
What were the grounds for divorce?
Scott and I were married for 8 years, but 6 years into the marriage, he drinks and he beat me badly, and I've got metal in my face where I had a face rebuild. And he begged me after I came out of the hospital and he came out of jail to have him back, and he would not drink and he would go to anger management, which he did.
Don't speak. After your divorce?
Yes, ma'am.
Your claim is that you bailed him out of jail twice.
Yes, first time in April.
You bailed him out of jail after the divorce.
Yes, ma'am.
And the charge at that time was what?
Battery on his girlfriend.
And he paid you back?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
And then he called you again when?
September.
Because he had been
arrested for 2 counts of battery.
Battery this time, but not against his girlfriend, against, according to you, somebody else.
Yes, his brother and his niece.
And again, you bailed him out. But this time, you also hired an attorney for him, and you claim that he did not pay you back either for the bail or the attorney.
No, ma'am.
And that he had promised to pay you back. Now, Mr. Sewell says, yes, he acknowledges that he said he would pay you back for the bail, which was how much?
$500 and a $5,000 life insurance.
$500 bail?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also claim the attorney's fees that he promised to pay you back for, and that was in what amount?
It was $5,000.
Did you pay $5,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Sewell says that the attorney was your idea, not his. You hired the... That's his defense. You hired the attorney, And in addition, he says that's an awful lot of money because when he got out of jail, after you had bailed him out for the second time, he met with the attorney once. The attorney didn't show up on the adjourn date. The charges were dismissed probably because his brother and girlfriend didn't show up. He convinced them not to. Is that right?
No, they didn't show up because they had no case against me.
You are a poor victim, Mr. Sewell.
I was.
You a victim the first time you put her in the hospital?
Nope.
Put her in the hospital.
Well, she attacked me first. And
when were you in the hospital?
Never.
In 2005, is that when the assault took place, or 2004?
On me?
Yes.
2002.
2002. You were not hospitalized in 2002 because of her assault on you?
No.
What was the nature of your assault on her, Mr. Sewell?
I came home late. I'd been drinking. As soon as I opened the door, she went off on me. And
what did you do to her, sir?
I just snapped and started swinging.
You snapped because you were drunk?
Yes.
That would be an assault, sir. Now, then you were arrested for assaulting your girlfriend.
Yes.
Did you plead no contest to that?
No, I pled guilty. That was all my fault. Same thing, drinking and fighting.
And when you went to the party at your brother's house, were you drinking?
Yes, but so was he.
I don't care if he was. He doesn't have the same kind of problem you do.
Well, he's the one that hit me. I didn't hit nobody that day.
You were in serious trouble at the time of that third arrest, sir. That would have been probably at least your second felony, but third arrest that I know about. There are probably more that I don't even want to go into. What kind of work do you do, Mr. Sewell?
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning what?
Service. Air conditioning homes.
You work for somebody else or yourself?
Both.
How long have you maintained the same job with an employer?
8 years was the longest.
How long ago?
Oh, that was in the 80s.
What about now?
I sub out and I work for myself. I make more money that way.
So you don't have an employer now, you work for yourself?
Right now I am.
For how many years?
The last 15.
The last 15 years you've been working for yourself?
Off and on, yes.
When was the last time you filed tax returns?
Every year I do.
Did you file them this past year?
Yes.
How much did you earn?
Right around 30 grand or so.
You have any children, Mr. Sewell?
All grown, yes.
How old are they?
I got 6. I don't even know all their ages. 27 and down.
When was the last time you saw any of your children?
A year ago.
Do you think your life is a success, Mr. Sewell?
No, I don't.
It is not. It is a monumental failure. And you know, I suspect it's a monumental failure because you drink.
That's always been the trouble.
Well, why don't you do something about it, sir? How old are you?
47.
47. Well, statistically speaking, unless you get hit by a bus or a car or something else happens to you of a fortuitous nature, you have probably another 30 years to live, unless the cirrhosis of your liver does you in earlier. So don't you think you ought to do something about your drinking, Mr. Sewell?
I'm content with my life. I like working. I like having a beer after work. I'm probably never going to change.
What do you do for a living, madam?
I work for the publisher of a magazine.
Had you been married before?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
9 years.
You understand that he is a monumental loser?
Yes, ma'am.
And that bailing him out the first time after your divorce was a big mistake?
Yes, ma'am.
And bailing him out the second time was a bigger mistake?
Yes, but I just kept praying, like we do, that people will change.
No,
but
no. Let me
explain
explain something to you. Men don't pray that women will change. Women pray that men will change. And I remember either saying or seeing or something, a little card that says, don't try to teach a pig to sing. It doesn't work and it annoys the pig. Women do it all the time with different gradations of change. Some would like them neater, some would like them more punctual, some would like them more affectionate, remember the birthday. You just want him to stop beating you. Miss Sewell.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Were you a drinking partner?
Well, yes, kind of, but not as bad as he.
He's in drinking every day and he's not as bad as me.
Didn't you hear what I said, sir? I said, I don't want to hear your voice until I ask you a question.
And later today.
Why did you do that, Miss Johnson?
Bad decision.
Very bad decision.
Yes, it was.
You allowed your daughter to do something that was against the law.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jay Sewell says ex-husband Scott Sewell owes for bail and attorney fees after he was arrested for beating up his girlfriend. Jay claims it was Scott's fourth arrest for domestic violence.
Let me see the lawyer's bill, please. And your canceled check to the lawyer.
I've got the credit card statements where
Did you pay her back the $500 bail from September, sir?
No.
Why?
We went to mediation. She wouldn't accept it. I tried to. They tried to. She wouldn't accept it.
She wouldn't accept the $500 that you wanted to pay her for the bail? You mean she wouldn't accept it because she wanted the attorney's fees as well?
She wanted everything, yes.
Well, that sounds right. They were the attorney's fees for you, right?
I didn't ask for it. I never asked for it.
What did he say, Miss Sewell?
What did he say when he went to jail? He said, do anything it takes to get me out of here. Anything it takes. Get me out. I'll never see daylight. And then in the morning, he'd asked us to go and pick up his truck because his firm would want the truck collected because he was in jail and couldn't go to work. So Gary and I went round to collect the truck.
Who's Gary?
This is what used to be Scott's best friend.
Go ahead.
And we were at the house after we came back and he called from the jail. And I was holding the phone up because he wanted to speak to both of us because I told him Gary was there. And he said on the phone, she needs to get me an attorney before 10 o'clock. I'm in court at 10 o'clock. And he said...
Step up. Your last name, sir?
That's a lie.
Baumgartner.
Mr. Baumgartner, you heard that statement? She needs to get me an attorney?
That's a lie. I was in jail. How can
listen to me. I don't want to hear you say anything until I look in your direction and ask you a question. How long had you been his best friend, sir?
Oh, approximately 10 months.
How did you know him? Were you a drinking partner?
Well, yes, kind of, but not as bad as him.
By the drinking buddy?
Yes, I have a friend owns a little neighborhood pub.
That he's in drinking every day and he's not as bad as me. I'm out working every day. What do you mean he's not as bad as me?
Didn't you hear what I said, sir? I said, I don't want to hear your voice until I ask you a question. For my own information, this attorney met with, I assume, the two of you.
Met with me first because he was in jail and I had to go and retain him.
Okay, how did you find him?
In the Yellow Pages.
So you went to see him?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much time did he spend with you?
About 45 minutes.
And then the second time he saw you, you were with him?
Yes, when he was released from the court, we had to go to his office.
And how long were you with him then?
About 10 minutes.
Did you ever see him again?
No.
Did you ever see him again?
No, I didn't.
And what you're telling me is for that less than an hour, you paid him $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what I'm going to suggest that you do. You have to pay her the $5,000 because it was taken out of her credit card. I am holding that check until the two of you compose a letter to the Bar Association in the state of Florida, filing a formal complaint against this attorney for taking $5,000 for less than 1 hour's worth of work when he did not make a court appearance. Have you asked him for any of that money back?
He did make the final court appearance with him.
How many court appearances did he make with you?
The last day when I was going to be completely done with the judge, I was going back every month checking in with the judge because I was going to anger management.
Well, had you been in touch with the attorney? Listen to me. Had you been in touch with the attorney in between? You mean he just showed up on that last date?
Yes. But he wasn't needed for anything. It had nothing to do with the case I was arrested for. It had nothing to do with that.
Well, what was he there for?
I had no idea. I didn't need him for nothing. This was about a case against my girlfriend that this was the final day to meet the judge and be done with it. And the money that she paid the attorney for that, he gave back to her. He gave her $2,500 back.
How much money did you pay the attorney in total?
$7,500 because of his previous record. He said that he wouldn't take the case on less than that. And he took on the case that had already been pled, and then...
So he took on both. All right, I feel better now. I feel better now. Now I'm getting it. Okay, because it would have been outrageous and unconscionable for him to charge you $5,000 for less than 1 hour's work. However, I have a feeling that there's more work involved here than I was originally presented with. You have to pay her back the money, sir. Do you understand?
I didn't ask for it. Yes, I understand, though.
Yes, I believe that you did. I believe that you probably had a very bad hangover. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, she forgot to mention that she gets drunk every night, and she likes to fight. She loves to fight.
After he'd beaten me and put me in hospital and...
Drinking does lead to fighting.
I became afraid of him and divorced him.
A couple people get drunk, they bump heads.
Justice was done.
5-year-old Nicole Newton is suing her former friend, Michael Danner, for rolling her Jeep. Nicole Bull says the accident was a result of a heated argument.
Newton, Mr. Danner was a friend of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
There were 4 people traveling in a car. It was your car?
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, Mr. Danner took control of the car, you say without your permission, and he wrecked it.
Yes.
Mr. Danner acknowledges that he took your car. Mr. Danner acknowledges that he took your car without your permission, and Mr. Danner acknowledges that he wrecked the car. So far, correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
His defense is that he took the car because he feared for his safety, and it was the only way to get away from a situation that was dangerous. When did this happen, Miss Newton?
November 17th of 2005. It was about 5 o'clock in the evening.
Who was in the car?
My husband, Craig, was driving.
Is that him?
Yes. And myself was in the passenger front seat, and then Mike Danner and Peggy Thornton were in the back seat of the vehicle.
What happened?
Me, Mike, and Peggy had just got off from work in Plattsburgh, and I gave him rides to work. We all worked together in a factory, and we were cut back to St. Joe and picked up my husband to take him to get his paycheck in Atchison, Kansas. And sometime in between the factory where he works at and going back over the Kansas Bridge into Missouri, where we live at, there was a heated argument about several different things, one of them being an affair that happened between Mike's ex-girlfriend and my husband. And
Mike's
ex-girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend and your husband.
Yes. And Mike got really excited, kind of upset, agitated, and jumped out of the vehicle on the Mocan Bridge, which is in between Kansas and Missouri. And me and Peggy got him back into the car in the back seat, and he proceeded to start beating on Peggy in the back seat. We tried to get into the back of the vehicle to get him off of Peggy, but both rear doors were locked, and my husband, Craig, he decided to go over the seats at Mike, and there was a struggle or some sort, and then Mike was in the front seat, and the next thing I know, I woke up next to the side of the road because I'd been hit with the car door on the back of my head. When he pulled it into gear, it locked in reverse, so he had to push the button to pull it down into drive to take off with it, and then he proceeded. My husband told me he dragged him a good half a block up the road when he was taking the vehicle. And then he went for help when I was knocked out, and the police come, and 2 farmers came and told me my Jeep was up a half mile up the road, flipped over, and no sign of Mike or Peggy, and they were both in the vehicle when it took off.
When he took off, where was Peggy? Still in the back seat?
Yeah, she was still in the rear.
Stand up. Were you in the car when the car flipped over?
Yes, ma'am.
You were in the back seat of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Danner was driving the car, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to Mr. Danner driving the car, was he sitting in the back passenger seat next to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he go over the front seat?
Yes, ma'am.
When he took off, did you say anything to him?
Yes, ma'am. I said to please stop or slow down.
You yelled?
I yelled.
Did he answer you?
No.
While he was sitting in the back seat of the car next to you, did he hit you?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
At least 3.
I never hit him.
Yeah, you may be seated. I'm very effective.
I know.
So no matter how much rehearsing you did, it doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? Now, Mr. Danner, you're going to explain to me your answer, which quite frankly I found slightly convoluted, why you are not responsible to the damage to Miss Newton's car. So far, let me tell you what we know to be the fact. You were driving this car. You took it without permission. You took it after you were assaulting your girlfriend. You did not get out of the car. You jumped over the front seat. You were driving too fast because that's what she says.
I never assaulted her, though.
Your Honor,
Is she still your girlfriend?
Yeah.
You think that this lady would say that you hit her when you didn't hit her?
She was drunk. That's one thing we left out. We was all drunk.
She may be drunk. Then she would say to me, I don't remember him hitting me. Mr. Danner, she would say, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But your girlfriend, with whom you probably slept last night, is not going to tell me, a perfect stranger, that you hit her at least 3 times when you didn't. Do you understand?
Maybe I was drunk and I don't remember.
Oh, that's perfect. That I like. Were you drunk?
Oh, yeah. We was drunk.
You were drunk?
Yeah.
So you had no business driving the car?
Nope, we should. None of us should have never been driving. It never would have happened.
Unfortunately, Mr. Danner, nobody was driving the car except you when it flipped over.
No, we was drunk when we got off work.
Listen to me very carefully, Mr. Danner. You had the misfortune of being behind the wheel, driving too fast when the car flipped over. Now, on November 17th, if I were a drinking person, I might have been drunk. If Bird were a drinking person, he might have been drunk. But that wouldn't have made any difference because we weren't driving the car.
Exactly. So
You would listen to me.
I wouldn't be driving with you if you was drunk. Would you get in a car with me and drive if I was drunk right now?
What did he say?
Would you get in a car and drive with me if I was drunk right now, knowing I was drunk? Would you get in a car and drive with me?
Listen to me, sir.
I'm listening to you.
No, you're not. I think maybe it'll be helpful if you take your hands out of your pockets.
Yes, ma'am.
And uncross them. Hands at your sides. You chose to get into the car with the plaintiff and her husband. If they were all drinking and you got into the car with them, that's your choice. If the car had flipped over with her driving the car and she was drunk and you were hurt, she would have been responsible for your injuries. Do you understand?
So they should be responsible for my girlfriend's injuries. When I was driving, their insurance should be.
What law school did you graduate from, Mr. Danner?
Missouri Department of Corrections.
As an inmate?
Yeah.
There you go. People who graduate from prison law school, sir, very rarely get to the Supreme Court. In the history of this nation, nobody has ever made it to the Supreme Court who's a graduate of prison law school. So why don't you stop being a wise guy and just listen?
Ma'am.
Because I guarantee you, in this little discourse that we're having, you're not going to win.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You can't pick your relatives. You can, however, pick your friends.
Yes, ma'am.
I suggest you slough off this group.
And later today,
Were you going on trial for a felony?
Yes. He was convicted of his charges.
Not convicted.
You were found guilty.
There was no witnesses in that. There was nothing, so it's just sick.
owes for rolling her Jeep on the highway. Michael says the accident happened when he was attacked by Nicole's husband.
Now, I want you in 30 seconds or less tell me why you're not responsible for the damage to Miss Newton's car.
For one, I was in fear of my life because her husband was beating me up once, and he told me he was going to beat me up again. And she jumped out of a Jeep with a billy club, so I took off, and basically that's it. And we should have never been drinking and driving. Nobody should be drinking and driving a vehicle.
That's your defense?
Yep, that's my defense.
Can I see the estimate on the damage, please? What an idiot.
Your Honor, there's one here that has a list of labor and parts from the dealer, and then the other one's just a printout of just the parts, which is what we were asking for.
How long has he been your boyfriend?
Almost a year.
You have children?
No.
Perfect. You have photographs of the car?
Yeah.
I'd like to see them, please.
I have also this one, if you want to give her that one, it's all. Okay.
They going to be able to fix this car?
Yeah, we've already started on it, Your Honor, out of our own pocket expense, just because that's my only means of transportation.
Is the limit in your small claims court $3,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that why you're only suing for $3,000?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can't, Miss Newton, pick your relatives. You can, however, pick your friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes life gives us an advantage, and we're able to, despite the fact that we're stuck with relatives, we can get rid of them if they are not a positive part of our lives, right?
Yeah.
But it's certainly much easier to do with friends.
Yeah.
Right? I suggest you slough off this group. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Don't think they should have won. They're a bunch of losers and meth heads anyway.
No, I don't use crystal meth. I'd pee for somebody today.
He was beating on her. I went around to try to stop him, pull him off of her.
He says that his girlfriend was flashing somebody, but I didn't see it.
She was flashing Mr. Newton, and she was drunk.
Well, 3 bottles of Jack Daniels, what would you be doing?
He jumped in the front, tore off, drugged me 50, 60 foot down the gravel.
Twentis is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Peterson, for a bounced rent check and the resulting fees.
Miss Davis, you and Mr. Peterson lived together for a period of time. He was your boyfriend. Your financial arrangement was that you would give him your half of the rent check, he would put in his half of the rent and pay the landlord. But according to you, you gave him your half of the rent for October of 2006. You had an argument somewhere at the beginning of October where you called the police and had him removed from the house. And he left. He left and he closed the bank account on which this check was drawn, so the check bounced. You remained in the apartment and were forced, according to you, to pay the entire rent, including his half of the rent. Mr. Peterson says, through really no fault of his own, you weren't getting along, you'd had an argument, you went to the police, you had him removed, he wasn't living there, he doesn't have to pay rent, right?
That's right.
So, Ms. Davis, when did you move in together?
May of 05.
And when did this incident occur? October of 06?
Yes.
What day in October?
October 9th, I believe.
Is that right?
That's wrong.
What date?
October 6th.
Now, Ms. Davis, you're going to tell me exactly what happened on October the 6th.
On October the 6th, Mr. Peterson went out to my car without my permission, went into my car, grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of my car for himself and one for me as well. I did not ask him to do this. He did not have permission to go out to my car. When he came back and I discovered that he had taken a pack for himself as well, I was a little upset. And I confronted him on it and he lied to me.
What did you say?
I asked him if he had taken the pack, why he had taken it without asking me. And he said that he never took a pack and called me a liar. When I confronted him on it and he lied to me yet again, I got upset and basically told him I was done with the lies in the relationship. And when I told him I was done with the relationship, he didn't take that kindly. He said he was not going to give up on the relationship, that he was not going to leave, he wasn't going to give up on us. And when I told him that he did not have a choice, because I was done, he started punching himself in the face.
Show me how he did that.
He was pacing back and forth in the room that we were talking in and just started pounding on himself.
So?
I got scared and I went over to my friend's house.
Okay, he didn't touch you, he didn't put his hands on you?
No.
Okay, so you left and you went to your friend's house?
Yes.
And?
And the next morning, I was afraid to go home, so I went to the police.
What'd you go to the police for? To take you home?
I did not feel safe to go home with the state of mind that he was in.
Okay, so what did you want the police to do?
To remove him.
Why?
So that I could go home.
Well, it was his home too.
But I was not safe in my own home.
But it was his home.
It was his home too, yes.
So if you're not safe, he hasn't done anything to threaten you. He hasn't done anything to harm you. He hasn't put his hands on you. If anything, he was, according to you, he was hurting himself. He was acting, you know, in a self-destructive way. So if you felt unsafe because you didn't like his mental state, why didn't you just leave?
I didn't feel I should have to pack up everything in the apartment that was mine and leave because he was unstable.
Can I see what you told the police, please?
I filed for an order of protection. I didn't have a police report.
What did you say in the report that gave you an order of protection?
I told them exactly what happened.
No, I can't believe anybody issued you an order of protection based on that. Oh, you lied.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
You said to the police the reason that you were coming to ask for assistance is because he physically threatened you by raising an object over his head to throw it at you and yelled and screamed and called her names.
He had done this prior to this date.
Evicted from the house. You had reason to leave yourself if you wanted to leave, but you had no reason to force him out of the house. None whatsoever. Okay. Mr. Peterson, you want to tell me your version of the events? What happened? First of all, I don't understand this business about going out. You live together, you're sharing a house, you're sharing a bedroom, you have an intimate relationship, and she gets upset because you went out and took 2 packs of cigarettes instead of 1. Did you go out to the car to get a pack of cigarettes for her?
I went out to the car to grab a pack of cigarettes for her. I asked her that night, and she said yes.
He'd never
No, don't speak now. Don't speak. You have to be quiet. Because it's his turn to testify. Did you see how quiet he was when you were testifying? Now it's his turn.
I asked her permission the night before to grab a pack of cigarettes.
Are you on some sort of medication? Listen to me, Miss Davis. Are you on medication?
No.
Then I can speak to you frankly. I said it once. When you were testifying, he was quiet. He didn't interrupt. Now it's your turn to be quiet and allow me to take his testimony. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good.
The night before, I did ask permission to go to her car and get a pack of cigarettes for myself. She was okay with that.
I don't understand why there was this whole big hullabaloo because of the cigarettes, so it must have been something else fomenting in the relationship for a while.
It was because I was also unemployed for at least 3 weeks, and she
was annoyed because you weren't working and weren't buying the cigarettes.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happened when you came inside, Mr. Peterson?
What happened was I came inside. I went to try to get into my bedroom. she had the master bedroom door blocked. I don't know why she had it all blocked, but after an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she had the door open. There was this mysterious odor in the air, as if she was smoking something funky.
Mr. Peterson, did you at any time on the 6th of October threaten Miss Davis?
No.
Did you at any time on the 6th of October pick up an object to throw at her?
No.
Had that ever happened in the past?
No.
Did she give you her half of the rent?
Yes, she did.
For October?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't pay any of the rent?
I did pay the rent. I had my half in my checking account. She gave me her half. When I closed out my checking account, I made sure that all the money was still in the account.
Okay. How much out of pocket are you, Miss Davis?
I'm out $914.
From what?
I gave him $467, plus his half of the rent, plus the late fees and the non-sufficient
His
funds.
half of the rent he's not giving
He's
you.
still on the lease.
I don't care whether he's still on the lease. You threw him out of the house without just cause. You threw him out by lying to the police. And you're not being, listen to me, and you're not being rewarded for that. If you felt unsafe about going back to your home because you felt as if he wasn't acting in an appropriate way, then you go stay with your friend, you stay with your family, you find a new apartment. But you don't lie to the police and have him thrown out. So you're not getting his half of the rent. Period. The money that you gave him, that he is responsible for if you didn't get it back. Now, so my question is, did you get that money back?
I have not seen any money from him.
So how much was his half of the rent?
$363.
And you gave him $467
I gave him $467.
Why would you give him $467 if his half was $363?
Part of it was supposed to go toward another bill that did not get paid as well.
What bill?
A credit card bill.
Okay, well, then that's what he owes you, $467, not $900. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment, and you absolutely didn't have any right to lie to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $467. That's
Do
all.
I get
Thank
the
you.
late fees or anything like that?
Absolutely not, madam. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. None. Zero.
He could have said something, and so I could have covered the rest of the rent before it was late.
He could have said a lot of things. You also should not have gone to the police and perjured yourself. That's all.
Joshua Tenney claims ex-girlfriend Michelle Nguyen opened a PayPal account with his debit card. Michelle is countersuing, claiming Joshua assaulted her.
Mr. Tenney, this used to be your girlfriend. She's not your girlfriend any longer. It is your claim that while you were away for Thanksgiving holiday last year, the defendant used a credit card of yours to open up a PayPal account on the internet. And she charged many items and used your account to purchase many things for herself. So I'm not exactly sure how this PayPal thing works.
Okay.
So you're going to explain it to me.
All right, what you need to open a PayPal account, it's with association with eBay. All you need is an email address, a credit card, debit card, also an address followed with the name.
An address?
Yes.
Were you two living together?
Yes.
And you had a debit card?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a joint debit card or just in your name?
Just in my name.
How many cards did you have?
One.
Do you just need the number of the card?
Yeah, you just need the number.
Keep going.
She registered under her email address, which is Michelle Loves Josh. I have that right here as well, along with purchases.
Can I see, please, the account being opened with her email address?
And I also have PayPal statements along with my bank statements.
Why would he open the account, Miss Nguyen, with your email address?
He opened it for me, and we just used my email address.
He opened it for you so that you could buy things on eBay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you were supposed to pay for those things. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I never received
Just a minute. Well, how much money did you charge on his account?
It was around $2,000.
$2,000?
Mm-hmm.
Over what period of time?
I think about 2 weeks.
Was that when he was away?
No, he actually spent Thanksgiving with me, and he was there the whole time. So you were at my mom's house on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So.
Look at me. Look at me. $2,000 in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Nguyen?
I work at an insurance office.
Doing what?
I'm an insurance agent.
How long have you been with the same company?
About a year.
You work on salary or commission?
Both.
What's your salary?
$10 an hour.
How many hours a week do you work?
Right now, 40.
File tax returns?
Yes.
How much did you earn last year?
I'm not sure.
Well, think very hard. Wasn't so long ago.
It's about $37,000.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I've been to her insurance where she used to work. It's runs by her aunt, and she no longer works there.
I still work there.
And
Don't answer him.
she's never received a paycheck. It's all under the table.
Just a minute. She says she filed tax returns that showed that she earned $37,000.
I don't see those.
He was coming to my work to, like, I don't know what he was
Mr. Nguyen,
coming there for, but...
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if you filed tax returns several months ago, which indicated that you earned $37,000 in 2005. I want an answer to that question, and I may make you prove it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you file tax returns in April?
Yes, I did.
And how much did you claim that you earned?
Around $37,000.
What's around?
It was probably 36.5 something.
So, you have a bank account?
Yes, I do.
And you get paid in check or cash?
Check.
So you put the check in your checking account?
Yes.
And it is your testimony that around last Thanksgiving, when you made these approximately $2,000 worth of purchases, you paid the plaintiff back for those purchases?
No, I was planning to. And then he tried to tell PayPal it was fraudulent, that he had nothing to do with it, and he didn't know about it, even though he did, so that he wouldn't have to pay the money.
I'm asking you, why didn't you pay him?
I was going to pay him, and I told him that I would help him with his bank account and pay him the money.
Miss Nguyen, you bought merchandise. Was it delivered to you?
Yes.
Why didn't you pay him?
I was planning to.
But you didn't. But now he's suing you for money.
Yeah. I told
Listen
him,
to me carefully. Now he's suing you for money, so why didn't you pay him?
I told him I'd give the stuff back, and he...
She never said
Just a second. You're not giving the stuff back. Why didn't you pay him? You earned $37,000 according to you last year. Why didn't you pay him?
He was going to do that fraudulent claim.
I didn't ask him what he was going to do. I asked you, why didn't you pay for the stuff that you bought?
I told him that I would.
So...
But...
Is there something you don't understand
I
about
didn't
me?
have the money at the time. But
Why not? You earned $37,000.
I don't know. I have rent.
I don't think that that's funny.
I have rent and bills to pay and stuff.
Then why did you spend $2,000 on merchandise?
It wasn't all for me.
Yes, it was all for you. You said you bought $2,000 worth of stuff. Don't go back on it now.
He actually took some of the merchandise and sold it.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
Tell me what you bought.
Just clothes and a camera and a cell phone.
What kind of camera did you buy?
It was a...
I have it all in here. It's along with other items that she bought. And the account was actually overdrafted close to $3,000. And I have all the PayPal statements.
$1,000. Is that correct?
It was like 29.
Well, show me exactly, please. Give me the figure. It's all women's clothing, Nikon camera, cell phone.
That camera, she gave it to her mother as a gift.
It's some piece of work. It's some piece of work. Now, you don't have a legitimate excuse for why you didn't pay him the money.
Well, he wasn't expecting me to pay him when we were dating.
You owe him $27.10. You got it? Now let's deal briefly with your counterclaim, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to believe anything that you tell me. You claim that he assaulted you once. Let's hear about it.
I was getting ready to go to work, and he came to my door, and then...
You mean this is after he found out about these charges?
Yeah.
Go ahead. So he came to your door, and?
And he went into my house, and he said he wanted to talk to me. He was acting really nice, so I just let him talk to me. We went in the backyard, and then he started pushing me around a little bit.
What was he saying to you?
He was asking me if I was dating somebody else.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the bank account thing.
Yes.
And then he started pushing me around. He pushed me into the fence in my backyard, and he wouldn't let me get back into the house to go to work. And then finally he let me out of the backyard, and then he followed me outside to the front of the house. And then he grabbed me by my hair and pushed my head like into the grass. And then my roommate came out after that and stopped him, and he pulled a knife out on my roommate. And then that was pretty much it after that. And then I was going to work, but he was following me.
Did you go to work?
No, I couldn't, because he was following me.
So where did you go?
We went to the police station. I didn't want him following me to work because...
And you went to the police station, you filed a report?
Yes.
Can I see a copy of the report?
They wouldn't release the report to me, but they did give me this. It just has the police report number and the date that it happened.
When did you go back to work?
About 5 days later, 6 days later.
Well, what'd you do for 5 days?
I just stayed at home, but my boss told me not to come in because...
Don't tell me what your boss told you. Why did you stay home? He knows where you live.
Yeah, but I felt safer at my house.
Why did you feel safer at your house rather than at work where there were other people?
Oh, well, it's just me in the office, that's why.
There's nobody else in the office?
No, my boss comes in for like a couple hours in the morning and then she'll leave.
Is your boss a relative of yours?
Yes, she's my aunt.
What kind of insurance do you sell?
Car, home, health, everything.
Are you a licensed insurance broker?
No, she is. I'm just her assistant.
But she's not there.
Yeah, but I can still do everything, like write policies and everything. Why is that funny?
Start with a little doing something not right, and you get into doing a lot of things that are not right. What happened on that date in February, Mr. Tenney?
I go over there, try to talk to her because this is when everything started coming out, and I found out that she did all these charges. As you can see, packages showing up to the house, clothes, toys for her kid. I go over there, try to talk to her, but she won't talk to me. And she started being very rude and just making comments towards me, saying things that just tipped me over the edge, but I never did assault her.
Mr. Tenney, what did you do? Did you push her?
No.
Did you put your hands on her?
No.
What did you do?
I went over there trying to talk to her.
I understand that. But then she was trying to push you over the edge. So
Yes.
is what you're telling me that you didn't put your hands on her at all?
No.
Even pulling her arm?
No.
Okay. When was the first time, Miss Nguyen, that Mr. Tenney told you that he wanted you to pay him for some of this property that you had delivered?
He never told me that he wanted me to pay him until we broke up.
My question to you is, when for the first time did he tell you that he wanted you to pay him back for this problem?
Around
February.
February. No, after Valentine's Day.
After February.
We weren't seeing each other then.
Shh. Don't speak. After February 14th. How much after February 14th?
I think after, maybe a few days after.
February 18th.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say to you when he told you he wanted you to pay for some of this stuff?
He didn't ask me to pay for anything until after I tried to break up with him.
You were already breaking up with him. This happened on February
No.
24th.
We were broken up, but we were kind of like on a break type of breaking up. He thought he still had a chance with me. That's why he
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,710. Ms. Nguyen, I am not persuaded that you suffered any injury or that you suffered from any harassment at the plaintiff's hands. I believe that he was frustrated. That doesn't give him the right to assault you, but I don't believe he did that.
No.
I don't believe, madam, that the police would allow you to leave the police station without taking photographs of injuries, without filing a police report, which they did not do, without arresting the defendant, if they believed any of your story that there was an assault that took place on the 24th of February. Were you ever arrested, sir?
No, no charges.
Thank you very
were
much.
pressed.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Lonita White claims her late fiance's sister, Kimberly Swan, refuses to hand over her share of his remains. Kimberly is countersuing, claiming Lonita has been harassing her.
Miss White, your boyfriend, according to your complaint, was killed. He was shot recently, and the defendant is his sister. It is your claim that she promised to give you some of his ashes.
Yes.
He was cremated, and then changed her mind.
Yes.
Ms. Swan says that you are no relation to the family. You were not living with her brother. You were certainly not married to her brother, which would give you any legal status if you were his wife. His family has his ashes. They intend to keep them. That's what the case is about. Ms. Swan is counterclaiming for harassment of some sort. She'll tell me about that. When was your boyfriend killed?
February 15, 2006.
And how long was he your boyfriend?
For almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in July.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Who is this?
My mother.
Just curious. If you had the ashes, what would you do with them?
I was going to keep it. That would have been the last thing I had left of my boyfriend. Well, my fiance, which she doesn't know, we were engaged.
I don't care whether you're engaged or not. Engaged is not a legal structure that entitles you to any property, any domain over any of his realty or his ashes or decision-making with regard to what happens to him. You're her mother?
Yes.
I assume you're here for moral support.
And more, whatever I can support her with.
Okay. First of all, Miss Swan, how many siblings are there?
There's my oldest brother, and Marcus was my youngest brother.
You have parents?
Yes, my father is still alive, but my mother passed away 9 weeks before my brother did.
Okay, Miss White. So let me hear you.
Basically, the reason why I want the ashes in the locket is because that's what we had agreed to at the funeral home.
When did you agree? And with whom did you agree?
Kimberly Swan and me.
And what did you agree?
That I was to receive a keepsake, which is a locket, and an urn with his cremains in them.
Is that right?
The contract that we have, we agreed upon the funeral arrangements. They offered to buy his suit and the flowers, which they did. Everything else was taken care of by.
What I'm asking you is, did you make an agreement with her, either orally or in writing? Put your hand down. Either orally or in writing, to give her a locket with ashes from your brother?
Yes.
Okay. And what? Relax. Okay. This whole thing is ridiculous.
It is.
The whole thing is ridiculous. She's 20 years old. She shouldn't be walking around with a locket of the ashes of... You should be helping her get over this. She's supposed to move into the future. You're not supposed to help her live in the past. I am here to do a lawsuit. And the lawsuit is, was there an agreement between these two people for her to get a locket containing some of the ashes of her brother, and as part of perhaps a quid pro quo of that, did you pay for certain things for the funeral? You did pay for certain things for the funeral?
Yes.
So we did have an agreement. Now what I want you to tell me is why you reneged on the agreement.
When we first made the agreement, I was under a whole total different impression of why they wanted to help in the first place. I allowed for them to help, and this thing about her being the girlfriend, she was the ex-girlfriend. According to 2 days before he died, they had just broken up. But just because they broken up, that didn't mean I was shutting them out. She said they wanted to buy the suit and the flowers and things. I said, well, okay, I'll give you the locket. We have other family, you know, that want the ashes too. And this agreement...
Where's the locket?
Where's the locket?
Yeah.
The locket is at home.
Well, get it.
I'll get it.
That's what you made an agreement for. You made an agreement to give that to her. So far, I haven't heard a reason why you reneged on that agreement.
The reason why is because when he first got shot, Miss White had me under the impression that she wasn't there. But after the funeral, a lot of things have came to light. That she told me many lies about what happened to my brother. She said at first that she was not there, and now after everything is said and done with the funeral arrangements, her and her parents was in my brother's home when he got murdered. All lie after lie after lie.
All right. Miss One.
Yes.
You made an agreement with Miss White.
To give her the locket.
To give her the locket.
Not ashes, the locket.
Fine. But the locket contains ashes.
Yeah.
That's sufficient. These your brother's remains?
Yes.
All right. They're yours. They're yours. What do you... Get over it. Your mother may be a co-conspirator with this lunacy, but, you know, I have limited patience with this. You're 20 years old. You have a whole lifetime to live. You're not supposed to walk around with ashes of your old boyfriend around your neck, whether he's deceased or whether you broke up with him. It's over. It's finished. You got to move on. But we're here to talk about contract. You had an agreement. And you have to fulfill that agreement. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Fine. And does that urn contain his ashes?
Yeah.
Bert, I want you to take that, please, and give it to me. Now, do you want me to keep these ashes in safekeeping until she gets the locket, or are you prepared to guarantee me that she will get it?
I'm prepared to guarantee her, but without all the harassment.
You are prepared to guarantee?
Locket. That's mine.
Just as... Oh, it's going to be mine in a second. Now, are you prepared to guarantee me that within 5 days she is going to get the locket?
Yes.
If she does not, we will send a marshal to pick this up. Do you understand that? There's no question about that. That's what I will do. I will send a marshal to your home to pick this up unless she gets the locket. Clear?
Yes.
Now you can return this to her, Bert, please. Thank you.
I
What?
have a letter from the funeral director.
I don't
stating
read
the
letters from a
agreement.
funeral director.
This is the agreement.
I don't read letters from the funeral director. Pay careful attention to me. Nobody is opening up that urn and splitting up the ashes. It's not going to happen, Miss White.
But can I explain what happened?
I don't care what happened. You are getting a locket with ashes of your boyfriend.
I understand, but it's a total of 3 urns with his ashes in there.
I don't care. This lady, listen to me, look at me. This lady cannot do that because she is not really in charge of what happens to her brother. Because the next person in the family who is really responsible for making those judgments is your boyfriend's father. Made the arrangements, but she's not the person who is authorized by law, unless he had a will. Did he have a will? Of course not.
Not that I know. No.
Of course not. But you have an arrangement with her to get the locket. which she has, she's going to give that to you because she promises me she's going to give that to you. Correct?
Correct.
Otherwise, we're coming to get that.
No, she's going
You don't want to give that.
No, never.
Fine. You want to say something?
Yes, ma'am, I do. First of all, I'd like to say that Kimberly has not been harassed.
I'm not asking you about that. I haven't
Okay.
gotten to the counterclaim yet.
Okay. About the funeral arrangements. My daughter was promised an urn and a locket. This is the letter from the funeral director stating the
With the
urn
agreement.
and the locket from Kimberly's own statement. That's all I'm saying. She's due more than just a locket.
Sit down.
No problem.
You didn't have on your listening ears. You
Yes,
should
ma'am,
have.
I did.
You should know. You didn't hear what I said. Now I'm prepared to hear your counterclaim. Go.
My counterclaim is for harassment, which they have. They have been harassing me ever since after the funeral. Once everything was done and over with, then I get the harassment before the urn shipment even came. This woman had the audacity to call me, yelling at me, telling me that I did not love my mother or my brother. I had just lost both of them. How dare she call my house like that? Harassing. And then she sent somebody to my job. They came to my house one time by themselves trying to retrieve the urn, not the locket, but the urn. They want the urn. And there's a lot of trash talking. Her mother threatened me. Her mother threatened me.
Let me say this.
Uh-huh.
And I want you to also listen.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes when you lose somebody that you love,
Yeah.
you're not listening, you're angry. And she's not listening either because her foot hasn't stopped moving for a second. Sometimes when you lose somebody that you really care about, and there's an overwhelming sadness, a much easier emotion to deal with than sadness is anger. And you always have to have someone who's going to be the target of that anger. It's much easier to deal with than the emotion that you really should be dealing with, everybody feeling sad. Because the truth of the matter is, that means nothing. You lost your, listen to me, you lost your mother. Was she cremated or buried?
She was cremated also.
Okay. You have her ashes?
Yes, I do.
And you keep them at home?
Yes, I do, right next to this one.
Having lost parents, I know. Listen to me. Comes a time when you go very often to the cemetery to visit because it makes you feel good. I used to go every week.
Yeah.
Then in time, as time settles in, you go less frequently, which is a normal and, quite frankly, very healthy thing to do. I think maybe for you, let me finish. You're not listening.
Okay,
You want
I'm
to talk
listening.
so badly.
I'm listening.
You want to
I'm
talk
listening.
so badly. For you, it may be important for you to have the ashes of your mother and your brother in your house. I think it's dumb for her to have them because, you see, you will never replace your mother, and you're never going to replace your brother. She's going to replace this boyfriend. Now, the ashes that she so desperately wants today are going to be an annoyance 5 years from now because she really doesn't know what she's going to do with them. Does she give them to her mother to hold? Mother say, I don't want them. My husband certainly doesn't want to see him in my house. My kids are going to look and say, Mommy, what is that? So there's a reason for you to keep those if that's what you do. But there's an anger that is an emotion that you can actually grab onto. You got to get over the anger. I'm not angry. Good. You got to get over the anger. So does your mother. If something happened to you, I guarantee you, your mother would not give your ashes to a boyfriend. That's right. No way. That's right. Put your hand down, scratch all you want. But that wouldn't happen. That's really what they're saying. I don't want to share the brother's remains with you, other than the locket which she is prepared to give you, correct? That's right. Perfect. That's what you're going to get within 5 days. Your harassment, forget it. Get over the anger. Good. That's all.
18-year-old Christina Harmon is suing her father, William Tolan, for an unpaid loan. William claims Christina broke the terms of their agreement.
Ms. Harmon, this is your father?
Yes.
According to what I read in the complaint, you made a loan to him.
Yes, I did.
Your father does not deny that you made a loan to him. He says, however, that as a condition of his repaying the loan, you agreed to stay in school and stay off of drugs. And he says that you didn't. So he's not repaying the loan unless he can put it in some sort of an account where you can't touch it until you're 21. There's a little bit of background here. Background, according to you, is that you didn't have much of a relationship with your dad for most of your growing up. You lived with your mother. Your father at some point was incarcerated for an extended period of time. He got out of jail. You developed a relationship with him, moved in with him for a short period of time. You got a settlement of some sort.
Yes.
How much was the settlement?
It was for $8,960 or $76.
$9,000.
Yes.
And it was at that time that he asked you for the loan.
Yes.
When was that, Miss Harmon?
He asked me for it November 28th of 2005.
Were you living in the house with him at
Yes,
that time?
I was.
What did he say he wanted the money for?
He wanted $2,350 to buy a new car and $600 to go see my stepmother's oldest daughter in Medford, Oregon.
That's not true. I never borrowed $600 for a trip from her.
Well, how much did you borrow in total from her?
$2,150. The vehicle was actually so Christina had a car. She had the money to do driver safety. We'd already set it up with
Just a second,
school.
Mr. Tolan. How much did you take out of your account and give to him?
I took out $2,900 out of my account. I wrote a check to my bank.
Let me see.
It's this one right here.
It says $2,900, sir.
That's not what she gave me. She gave me $2,100, and my wife can attest to
In a
that.
check or cash?
Cash.
Okay. Let's say I believe you.
Okay.
Did he also give you a car?
No, he was going to give me the car, but then he decided not to, and he was going to sell it to my cousin once he got his taxes back.
Just a second. Did you ever have possession of that car?
No, I did not.
And title in your name?
No, I did not.
Okay.
That's not true, Your Honor.
She had title in her name?
She didn't have title in her name
Then
because
she didn't get.
she had the keys to the vehicle. They were
I don't
given
care
to
if
her
she had,
when she got it.
Listen to me. I don't care if
Okay.
she had keys to the vehicle. It's not her car. Where's the car now?
The car's in Salem right now.
With whom?
With a friend of mine.
That's not her car.
No, it's not now because she didn't hold up her part of the bargain.
Listen to me. When you asked your daughter for money, what were the conditions?
The conditions were that she stay in school.
No,
and not
you're
do
asking
drugs.
for money. You're the borrower. You don't set the conditions of the return of the money, Mr. Tolan. I don't think you understand how stupid your defense is. You say to your daughter, I want money. Let's say $2,100. Let's say $2,100. I'm not there yet, but let's just say $2,100. And you say, I'd like to borrow $2,100 because I want money to buy a car. And I will pay you back if you stay in school and if you don't do drugs. If I were your daughter, I'd say, take a walk. What kind of ridiculousness is that? I'm doing you a favor by loaning you $2,100, and you're going to set the conditions on repaying me? That sounds stupid. Doesn't that sound stupid to you? Does it sound stupid to you?
It sounds very stupid to me if that was the story, but she came to me asking for the vehicle, and I told her I would give her the vehicle on conditions because I was trying to teach her to be responsible.
I'm not talking about the vehicle. I'm talking about the $2,100 for your car.
I understand that. I'm talking about my daughter's life. I'm passionate about drug and
Listen,
alcohol
I'm
use,
passionate about the
and
truth.
I'm not going to let her
Listen
die.
to me.
So you'd give her $2,100 to go kill herself with?
Mr. Tolan, listen to me. I've had 5 children that I raised.
I understand that.
And I guarantee you, sir, I have not been in prison. And I guarantee you that I've been in my children's lives from the time that they took a breath. Okay? So I can guarantee you that I'm as passionate about my children's welfare as you.
Okay.
So what I'm saying to you is it doesn't make sense for you to say to anyone, including your daughter, can I borrow some money, but I'm only going to pay you back if you do this. If you get a job, if you stay in school, if you break up with this boy, if you stop hanging out with this person. Otherwise, I'm not going to borrow the money from you.
Okay, let's put it this way.
No, don't. I don't answer your questions.
Okay.
I don't answer your questions. What you're saying to me sounds stupid. And if it sounds stupid, it's not true. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,900, because that's what you took. That's all.
Tatiana Levy says her former roommate, Joanna Amrit, disposed of her furniture and slandered her to her father. Tatiana claims Joanna told her father she'd been using cocaine.
Miss Levy, you and the defendant were friendly, and there came a point when you and 2 of your 4 children moved in with Miss Amrit. According to you, there was a disagreement. You left.
Correct.
And took much of your property with you, but left some there, including, according to you, a valuable ring. You claim that Miss Amrit refused to return your property, and in addition, She slandered you to your father.
Correct.
Alleging that you were abusing drugs.
Correct.
You want to be compensated. Ms. Amrit says she gave you ample opportunity to get your stuff. She finally disposed of your stuff, with the exception of the ring, which she says she returned to you in the mail, right?
It was actually through a friend, a co-worker where she worked, and I gave it to that person to deliver to her.
Okay. When did you move in with her?
I started staying at Joanna's house probably the second week of July.
You have 4 children?
Correct.
How old are you?
21.
You have enough children.
Yeah.
Forever.
I know.
Where are your 4 children?
Right now?
Yes.
They're with my mother right now.
Where were they in July?
With me. I had 2 of them with me and 2 of them with my mother.
Why did you move in with your 2 children with Miss Amrit?
At first, I wasn't with my children. I was working with her, and I was having problems with my boyfriend, Henry, at the time, and she knew that.
Is Henry the father of any of these children?
Yes. And one day on the way to work, I got pulled over, and I got a ticket for driving on a suspended license.
It's a very, very long story, Miss Levy.
Right.
I asked you why you were staying with her.
Basically, my license was suspended, and she was driving back and forth to work with me every day.
She was driving you to work?
With my car.
Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Where were you working?
Travelers Express.
You too?
Yes.
Did your children ever join you in her house?
Yes, 2 of them.
When?
The 3rd week of July.
So practically as soon as you moved in. When did you move out?
The 29th of July.
So you stayed a very short time.
Correct.
And according to what I read, you had a falling out over childcare and what you were doing. According to the defendant, you were having a little too good a party time. Now, you said that you left a valuable ring there when you left. Where did you leave the ring?
In the kitchen.
You leave it there by mistake?
Yes.
Who did you give it to at work?
A woman named Maxine.
You know that person?
Yes.
Did she give you the ring?
Yes.
So you have the ring?
The reason why I have the ring is because I called her, she didn't answer her phone, so I text messaged her.
I don't care. You have the ring? Maxine gave you the ring? Good. Then that's all I care about. What other property did you leave there?
An entertainment center, a dresser, a chest, a mirror.
Furniture?
Yes.
What'd you do with the furniture?
I threw most of it away.
Why?
Because she left it at my house, Your Honor, and she never answered the phone anytime I called her. She would text me back, never calling me back, saying that she would come the next week to pick up the furniture. She never did.
I have phone records that show that I've called her, and all these phone records show that she hasn't called me once, except for on the 29th of October when Henry had called her and told her we were coming to pick up my stuff, and she hung up the phone on him.
29th of October?
Yes, but I have phone records that show that I've called her on the 15th of August when she hung up on me.
8:15.
And 8:23, I called her 3 different times.
8:23. Did you speak to her on any of those occasions?
I left her a message. The reason why she...
Just a second. You didn't speak to... Were you all working at the same place?
Yes, but that Friday she had quit working there.
Well, then you weren't working at the same place. 3rd.
No.
August 15th.
No.
Okay. So August, we go into September, we go into the entire month of October. Why didn't you sue her for the return of your property?
Because every time I tried to call her, it was a matter of when my brother could take me to get my stuff. And she told me the only way I could get my stuff back, she wanted me to pay her $150 for staying there, $40 for using her perfume, and what was it, $100 for something else.
So she told you that?
Yes, she text messaged me that.
Just a second. So she told you that as far as she was concerned, you owed her for rent.
Correct.
That's correct.
And I don't know about the perfume. I have no idea about the... But you owed her for rent.
Correct.
And she was keeping your property...
Correct.
...until you paid her for rent.
Correct.
When was that text message?
That was on the 20th of August.
Well, then you knew on the 20th of August that you weren't going to get your furniture back until you paid rent.
Okay.
And you waited 2.5 months after that to sue her for your property.
Okay.
Well, that's unreasonable.
She was actually telling other people that she...
You can't tell me what she told other people.
Okay, well,
that's
she has
hearsay.
the dressers and stuff. She said she was going to keep that for her children.
That's hearsay.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask her where all the stuff is.
Okay.
And she's going to tell me. Is your father here?
Yes, he's right there.
Step up, please. Your last name is?
Levy, same.
Levy, the second part of your daughter's lawsuit is that when you called Miss Amrit about, I gather, this furniture,
right,
she said something about your daughter. When did you call her?
It was in August. My son... Well,
that was in October. Called her.
Is that late?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I left a message on her answer machine because my wife was calling and calling, and I didn't want to get involved. And my wife was calling her and never getting an answer.
I'm talking about you, sir.
All right. What happened was she called me back after I left a message on her answer machine. Once she called me back, I said, "Where's the furniture?" She said, "I don't have it anymore. I gave it away."
Well, that's not true. Miss Amrit didn't do that. You didn't give away all the furniture. You didn't dispose of all... Miss Amrit, look at me. You didn't dispose of all the furniture. Some of the furniture you still have. Is this your child?
Yes.
You don't want to lie in front of your child, do you?
No.
You still have some of the furniture.
No, Your Honor.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And that's a very bad thing to fib in front of your daughter. I don't believe people just give away stuff. You may have sold it.
Oh, well, correct, Your Honor. Some
What?
of it, yes, Your Honor.
Oh, well, that's a different story than threw it away. Sold it is a different story. Who did you sell it to?
A gentleman that I know.
Whose name is?
His name is Lemuel.
Usually people have two names.
Is his last name.
And how much did you sell the furniture for?
$200, Your Honor.
Did he purchase all the furniture?
No, not all of it.
What did he purchase?
He purchased a black entertainment center.
What else?
That was it.
What about the two chests?
The two chests?
The two chests. So I ask the questions, you answer me, Miss Amrit. Where are the two chests?
They're no longer at my house, Your Honor.
Miss Amrit, don't play with me. Where are they?
I threw them away, Your Honor. I had a truck come and take them away.
I don't think I believe you. See, you lie once, you get caught in a fib once. Okay, I'd like you to tell me what she said to you about your daughter's behavior.
Okay. Right.
Your daughter is also suing for slander.
What happened was, after she told me about the furniture, she said, I had to get your daughter out of the house because she was using cocaine in the house in front of my kids. And I know that doesn't happen because, you know, I'm back and forth with my daughter. I'm raising two of the kids. And during the summer, I had all four most of the time. And I see her all week.
You think she listens to you?
My daughter? No, I know that. She don't always listen.
I have a drug
but
test.
I could tell if she's high on drugs, especially cocaine or something. And she took a voluntary drug test.
Yeah, I took a voluntary drug test.
Did you take a half follicle test?
No, this is just
No,
an
listen to me.
observed.
Shh, listen to me. Did you take a half follicle test? You took a urine test?
Correct.
Listen, Miss Levy, I've been in the business a long time. You want to do a hair follicle test?
That's fine.
Fine. Do a hair follicle test. That part of your lawsuit that has to do with slander and drugs, I'll hold in abeyance.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? That'll tell you within the last year whether you've used any drugs and what kind of drugs you've used.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. You understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now you can sit down.
All right.
Talk to your daughter about birth control. That would be useful.
It's fixed.
Miss Amrit, you can't dispose of her property as cavalierly as you did. I believe you were annoyed that she had not given you any money, that she used some of your property, that the whole business was an unpleasant experience. So I believe that what you did was you sold some of it, maybe you kept some, maybe you gave some to your relatives, maybe you sold some for your relatives. You can't do that. Can I see the bills for the furniture, please?
Yes. That, I'm gonna have this. And the couch and the high chair I have pictures of. I don't have a receipt for that.
What'd you do with the sofa?
I threw it away. It was awful.
Carson's Furniture and Bedding, is this all the stuff that you bought?
The ones that are checked on the side, the dresser, the mirror, the entertainment center.
A dresser, mirror, and a four-door chest, is that right?
Yes, and the entertainment center.
All this property was purchased, the delivery date was February 2005. So what you're telling me is you gave away a mirror that was new, a four-door chest that was new, and you sold an entertainment center. Is that what you're telling me?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Now, did you have any sort of an agreement with her to pay rent?
No.
Tell me about the agreement that you say you had for rent.
Your Honor, I'm a single mother. I explained to Miss Levy that I could not afford to support anyone else in my home, so she would have to pay something to me for rent. We agreed upon $150 a week for everything, Your Honor.
You mean food? Who would shop?
Correct.
Excuse me, I bought $200 worth of groceries a week before I left. So the groceries were paid for.
Right. Okay. Ms. Amber, you owe her $606. You can't dispose of her property. You can't sell her property. I believe that her family tried to contact you. I believe that you didn't want to be contacted.
That's not...
Unless you have a bill to show me of the truck that you hired to come and dispose of her property, other than the entertainment center, which you acknowledged that you told, I don't believe that you hired a truck to come and take the property out of your garage. Do you understand? And I wouldn't fib in front of my child. It's not a good thing. That's all. Step out.
Matthew Terry claims ex-wife Kelly Terry owes for injuries he received during an argument in her home. Kelly is countersuing for harassment and for making false charges to Child Protective Services.
Mr. Terry, the defendant is your former wife.
Yes.
You have 5 children.
Yes.
When were you divorced?
Finally in July of 2005.
And I assume you were divorced because you decided that you couldn't make a, right?
Yes.
Fair statement?
Yes.
So after your divorce, you did the most ludicrous thing that I ever heard of. You moved into her house, rented a room, according to you, so that you could be close to your children. Is that right?
It's to help out with the children. There's 5 of them, and they're pretty overbearing sometimes.
Well, that's a great idea, but if you're going to live with her, you might as well be married to her. Living there under these circumstances is really ridiculous. In any event, to show you just how ridiculous, you claimed that your former wife assaulted you.
Yes.
At a time when you were, in fact, living in the house, and you want her to pay for your medical bills, want her to compensate you for your injuries. Your former wife says you started the argument. She just finished it. And since that time, you've embarked on a campaign of harassment, and she is counterclaiming. Tell me when this incident happened, Mr. Terry.
Happened February 26th of this year.
And according to what I read in your complaint, you were in the house watching TV with some of the kids.
Yes.
What were you watching?
I believe we were watching NHRA on ESPN.
You were watching?
NHRA, it's automobile racing.
And how many of the children were you watching auto racing with?
I believe all 5 of them were watching, and 2 of the oldest ones had left the room at this instant.
How old are the children?
They range from 7 to 16.
So the 16-year-old left.
Yes.
One below that is how old?
14.
That one left. So the 3 little ones.
Out of the room, yes.
The little ones are there. Tell me what happened.
We were sitting there watching TV. She came out of her room, which is adjoining the living room, and started swearing and was upset about something, and went to the fireplace, sat down, and was smoking a cigarette. At the whole time, she was sort of cussing me out and saying how negative things were with me.
Why were you angry with him?
I had asked him to help do things around the house and to help with the kids instead of sitting there watching TV.
That's what you do to a husband, not to a tenant.
Well, he gets a big discount in rent because of his help.
But he was a tenant.
Correct.
If you wanted to boss him around, you should have stayed married to him. Okay, so you were angry because you would ask him to do some chores, help with the kids, and he was sitting around watching TV.
Yes.
Acting like a husband.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Rather than as an almost employee, because if you say that he gets a big discount in his rent, then you're giving up a certain amount of rent in order to get work out of him.
Correct.
So you weren't getting work out of him.
Right.
Recipe for disaster. So you were angry and annoyed and letting him know it.
Yes.
What happened next, Mr. Terry?
She kept raving on and badgering me with her voices.
Mr. Terry, were you ignoring her?
I responded to some of the things.
How did you respond?
Just with my mouth.
In front of your children?
Yes, nothing negative came out of my mouth.
If there was nothing negative that came out of your mouth and she's cursing at you, why don't you tell me what you said to her?
I don't remember. I was concentrating on the program.
Well, try to remember, Mr. Terry. I'm curious what you were talking about in front of your
I don't see what the problem is this evening. I'm with the 3 children. They're with me, or all 5 were with me, so it's not like I'm not watching them like she wanted to. And she just kept bickering.
So go ahead. Let me hear.
And she finished her cigarette, got up, charged me, swung at my face, hit me in the shoulder. I have a previous injury, and it's like a tender spot in my shoulder.
You were still sitting on the couch?
Yeah, I was sitting on the front part of the couch, like leaning forward with my hands crossed, just watching the show. And I didn't think she was going to charge me like that. And she came up around the table, took a swung at my face. I went back. She hit me in the shoulder. I fell back, and my feet went up, and I broke the table in front of me.
Go ahead.
And then I sat back up from falling back into the couch, and I looked at the glass on the floor, and she went off saying that I was breaking things and that I did that on purpose. And I said, no, I fell back when you hit my shoulder. And she was really steamed then. And I picked up a big piece of glass, probably 4 foot by 4 foot, over her head, threw it down, my finger, and it hit me in the arch of my foot, cutting it. And then I got up, and she was throwing things at me continuously, and I told her I was going to call the sheriffs, and she said, no, I will do that. I got up to go to the phone, and she was already there, so I just left and went out and sat on the stairs.
Were you treated that night?
No.
the next day?
Yes, I woke up it was painful in my foot, but I thought it might subside over the night, so I went down to my room. After the sheriffs came, they took a statement from both of us, gave her a ticket for battery, and she told the sheriffs that she didn't mean to throw it at my foot. She was trying to aim for the ground. And I was outside the whole time, and the sheriffs...
could you do me a favor and answer my question? Were you treated the next day?
I was treated the next day, yes.
Where?
At San Bernardino Medical Center.
Can I see the papers, please?
Do you want to see the police report?
Yes.
Here's the police report, the hospital report, off-work notice.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Terry, I'd like you to tell me your version of the events of the 26th of February.
Okay. He was sitting on the couch, and I think just the one youngest child was there. I think the oldest two, who are actually 15 and 17, were gone because they're usually never at home. And he was sitting on the couch watching TV, and I went and stood in front of the TV and asked him if he would help me do some things around the house. This was in February, 8 months ago, so I don't remember what I needed him to do. However, when I stood in front of the TV, he told me to move my fat because he couldn't see the TV. And the TV is big. It's like a 52-inch TV. And so when he said that, I was furious. So I walked up to him, and as he's sitting in the corner of the couch, and I did put my hand on his shoulder and said to him, "Get out. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. Get out. And if you don't leave right now, I'm going to call the police." And that's when he kicked the table. And then when he did that, I was furious because my dad gave me that coffee table. It's very expensive. And I did not punch him. I did not hurt him in any way. I picked up the glass because it didn't really like shatter. It shattered but still stayed together. And I picked it up and I showed it to him and I said, "Look what you did to my table." And I threw it down on the wood right where it was. And again, it broke in like big pieces, you know, but not like shattering, like where there was like sharp edges because it's tempered or something like that. And he immediately got up and I walked over to the phone to call the police.
In February of 2006, was he paying rent to you?
Yes, he was.
And he had paid February's rent?
I believe so.
You can't throw him out.
Right.
And who are you to throw him out?
But he was damaging my property.
No. Listen to me, Miss Terry. You can't do what you did, madam. What you did was 100% wrong. What you did was confuse your circumstance. I mean, you two people elected to have this bizarre arrangement where he rented an apartment room, I don't know what it was, and there was an understanding that he would help out with the children, help out with this, help out with that, but he's not your slave. You can't stand in front of the television set and expect no reaction. That's what wives do, stand in front of the act and say, "Listen, I asked you to do this and I asked you to do that, and you didn't do it." So he responded to you. You didn't like it. "Sticks and stones will break my bones. Names will never hurt me. You can't put your hands on him." Period. How many days were you out of work, Mr. Terry?
The following day was a Monday. I went to the doctor's. I left work at half day, noon. I was there by 2.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a soils engineer, foundation engineer, inspector.
So how many days' work did you miss?
4 days plus a Saturday. I was taken off work for 3 days, and my employer told me if, since I was off,
don't tell me what
Tuesday,
your
Wednesday, and Thursday,
listen to you
that
trying
they
to
had
talk
no work.
over me, Mr. Terry. That won't do.
I was taken off work from the doctor Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
That's all. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 days.
Yes.
And how much do you earn a day?
$300 a day.
Are you not living in the house now?
No.
How much child support do you pay for your 5 children?
$2,000 a month.
You up to date?
Yes.
Great. When did you move out, sir?
July.
You lived there from February till July?
The following week, I found a new place to live, and it wasn't ready until then.
That is not true.
Just a second. So what you're telling me, Mr. Terry, is you lived there March, April, May, and June, 4 months?
I had the recreational vehicle, and I was gone a lot of the time.
Did you pay rent for those 4 months?
Yes.
Okay. I'm confused, Mr. Terry. If this happened February of 2006 and you decided not to pursue the protective order, even though she was given a ticket, why didn't you move out of the house immediately?
Like I said.
Why did you permit him to stay in the house for 4 months instead of evicting him?
You know, it's...
No. Are those legitimate questions?
Yes, they are.
You could have evicted him. So month-to-month tenant, did he have a lease? No. So he's a month-to-month tenant. So now my question to you, Mr. Terry, is why did you file this case in September or October of 2006, some 8 months later?
Mainly my whole reason for living is to take care of the children, and I work 60 to 70 hours a week. And
Why didn't
now
you
I
file
have
this
time.
case?
Now
Well,
I
that's
have
too
time.
bad. That's too bad, Mr. Terry. Quite frankly, I was very sympathetic with your position. I don't think that your former wife had the right to put her hands on you to cause this injury, and if you had decided to move out in March, 4 days later you paid up for February and said, I'm not going to live under these circumstances anymore because it's too violent, I would have heard your case, and I would have said, you're absolutely right, sir. She has to compensate. We're out of work. But this is an afterthought, and I don't know why the afterthought right now, Mr. Terry. You want to explain that to me? There has to be a reason for this afterthought.
I didn't want to create any more negativity in the home.
Well, you did by staying there for 4 months, sir.
I think it was more of a positive thing for the children and to take care of the children. That's my main thing.
Just a second. For the last 4 months, is that right?
Yes.
So why would you sue your former wife now?
I'm out of the house, and it would not create any negativity right now.
Oh, really? You think not?
Yes.
You think that the fact that you have children who are certainly of an age of understanding know that their father is suing their mother in court for thousands of dollars wouldn't create negativity?
She sued me in court for divorce.
That's different, sir.
It was more of a financial thing with her.
That's different, sir.
And I did not tell the children there was any litigation going on.
You may not. Don't you think that your litigation against their mother at this point creates stress? I mean, you're suing her for $5,000.
Yes.
And if you're suing her for $5,000, I'm sure that in your financial circumstance, the fact that you rented a room to you indicates that you're not exactly flush with dough. So $5,000 is a lot of money to her. I still don't understand the rationale for 8 months after the event.
I can explain that to you.
Well, I'd like to hear it.
The reason that he filed now is because that's part of my counterclaim for harassment. Because the reason he moved out is because I have a boyfriend. And in the year and a half, we have been divorced. I have never seen anybody else. We have, but not like inside the home or anything, or brought them around the children. And Matt just went berserk when I had somebody come over to the house and meet the kids and stay there. Not stay there, but just interact with the kids, because it's never happened before. And on August 2nd of this year, I have a police report where he came home and my new friend John was there, and Matt just flipped out, just started going crazy. He threatened to throw John off the deck. He threatened all of these things. And so I immediately called the police, and the police stood there while Matt moved out.
Mr. Terry, you have a problem with your wife having a new male friend?
No, not at all.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Matthew Terry says ex-wife Kelly Terry purposely cut him with broken glass during an argument in their home.
So you want to tell me your version of what happened on the 2nd?
Yeah, I came home from work and she called me maybe 20 times on my cell phone while I was at work in meetings, such things. And when I got home, I told her, you can't call me like 20 times a day. I was in meetings and she said, you better respond to me. And so I went downstairs and she chased me all over the house, just badgering me the whole time. I went to make a phone call to the sheriffs and she kept pulling the wire out of the house.
Was her boyfriend there?
No.
So the boyfriend wasn't there?
No.
This had nothing to do with the boyfriend?
No, he wasn't there.
So he wasn't there when the altercation took place? Well, it's interesting because she called the police, and the call that she made to the police says, called the RP and told her that if he ever sees her with her new boyfriend, that he's going to kill him, and also told her that he's going to steal her boat. RP would like an emergency restraining order against the subject. Why?
I don't know anything about that.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
There was no restraining order.
He lived in the house up until that day. And the police were there as he was packing his stuff and leaving. And he did make a comment to John. We were outside, you know, I just wanted him to just go. And he walked by the sliding glass door and said, in front of the police, I hope you're clean because I'm calling Child Protective Services to John. I hope your record's clean. And after that, and that's where the counterclaim comes in. This is the second time in my life I've ever been to court. The only other time was divorce court. And the judge commended us on having the most friendly divorce that he had ever seen. And we've been friends, great friends. We're just not good married.
You weren't good living in the same place either.
We were for a long time we were, until I decided to move on with my life. And that's the problem that he had, is that I guess because I married him, I'm never entitled to be happy. I don't love him like that, you know. He lives in an RV. He parks it in front of my driveway, in the street, in a cul-de-sac. He'll leave it there for 3 days. He'll start fights with the neighbors, and all of this has been since August of this year.
Why, Mr. Terry?
The last time I brought the RV up, she told me to bring it and bring the kids to the dental appointments, and also Kenny, my 8-year-old, has a heart condition. He has to go to echocardiogram. So I brought the vehicle up. She knew that's the only vehicle I drive. I parked it in her driveway.
Yeah.
Plugged into her electricity.
Right. But she said you left it there 3 days.
I was there for 3 days with it.
Did she ask you to move it?
On the third day, after I asked her what was happening with Kenny, Kenny told me that a friend of hers had choked him and thrown him down. And once I brought that up to her attention, it put her off, and she called the sheriffs.
That's not true. I have 2 teenage kids that go to high school, and so my house usually has about 9 or 10 high school kids in it.
Listen, you don't have to hear it.
Yeah.
She wants you to leave her alone. Where do you usually keep your RV?
I live in resorts.
Keep it there. Just keep it out of her driveway.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Terry, I'm not entertaining your counterclaim for harassment right now or ever. I think that things have happened, and he's just got to get over the fact that you're moving on. Moving up, moving on, moving out. You're absolutely entitled to do that. Hopefully, and I want you to pray every night that he meets a nice young lady, because that's the way that he's going to move on. He's going to move on. He's going to take you off his plate and put somebody else on his plate. Go looking for somebody. Go to Match.com. Go someplace. Go someplace, Mr. Terry. You'll find somebody who absolutely adores you.
I'm not after her at all.
Good.
My whole thing since the divorce was to take care of the children. That's my main thing.
Listen to me.
I raised them.
Listen to me. My sense is that you both are trying to be reasonable parents.
Yes.
You're just frustrating your children in the process. And if you have occasional spats, that's unfortunate, but it's not unexpected. You're going to have occasional spats. If you didn't fight, then you would still be living together. But, Mr. Terry, there is no way that I'm awarding you $5,000 and taking that out of the mouths of your children. That's just not going to happen. You are, however, entitled to reimbursement for the 3 days that you were out of work as a result of your former wife's actions. That's $900. Did you have any unreimbursed medical bills?
Yes.
What were the unreimbursed medical bills? Unreimbursed.
I have to pay back the insurance company, Pfizer
What insurance company?
Pfizer Health, Benesite, for anything that I recover that they paid for out in medical bills.
Listen to me. If what you're telling me is that your insurance covered the medical bills,
Yes.
that's what you're supposed to tell me.
Yes, they covered $300. I have a $200 deductible, and I have to reimburse them for any...
I understood what you just said to me, sir. And I think that you're a very smart man, a little passive-aggressive, but a smart man. So is what you're telling me that you had to pay $200 because that's your deductible. Let me see the check for $200.
I don't have a check.
Well, did you pay it?
I paid $110 of it.
Show
I owe
me.
$94. I don't have it.
Well, that's too bad. So your wife owes you $900. That's your wages for the 3 days you were out of work. Mr. Terry, put your hand down. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
23-year-old Cammie Farmer is suing Jose Martinez for a late-night fender bender outside a nightclub. Jose says it was Cammie who backed into him.
Ms. Farmer, you claim that Mr. Martinez damaged your car in a parking lot. And Mr. Martinez says that the accident was both of your faults, so you should each pay for your own damage. You were all exiting a club that evening.
Right.
So what I'd like you to do is to go over to that chart that you've prepared and show me where the exit was.
This is the exit right here.
Okay. So there's a steady stream of traffic that's going sort of in the center.
Right.
And what happens is I assume that a car in the center lane lets one car in from one side and then another car goes. It's sort of alternating egress from the parking lot.
And there was police officers in the parking lot directing traffic.
Now, what kind of car were you driving?
A 2000 Chevy Malibu.
And Mr. Martinez?
A van.
So tell me what happened.
As I was trying to exit...
That was you. You're in the red.
This is me. I'm the red, and he's the blue. So as they're exiting and I'm waiting in line for them to exit, I guess he got impatient and was in a hurry or whatever and tried to go around me. And his back van door was open. So as he's trying to go around me, his door caught my left bumper and my left taillight and shifted my trunk.
You have pictures of that?
No, I don't. I put it in the shop the next day, so I didn't take pictures.
Well, after his van door hit your car, what happened?
The police officer directing traffic directed us to pull this way and exchange information.
And you did that?
Yes.
You have a police report?
No, because it was on private property and there was no injuries, the police officer didn't take a police report, but he gave me a statement.
I'd like to see it. This is Police Officer M. There were 20 vehicles in the parking lot attempting to leave. Okay. So what I want you to do, sir, is to give me your version of what happened. Because I will tell you now, Mr. Martinez, the police officer observed what happened.
Okay.
So before you even think about trying to fabricate a story, I suggest you think hard about what happened.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened. Well, that night, me and my friends threw a party at a club in Union City.
I don't care.
And,
listen to me. I don't care. Get to the parking lot.
Okay, the parking lot. Okay, well,
And
like I
look
say.
at me when you're talking.
Okay, we was partying. You know, everybody had a little liquor in them.
Not me. No, just a second.
Okay, well.
You had a little liquor
I had a
in
little
you.
liquor in me. So I'm like, we was exiting the parking lot. And could I show you on the graph? All right, this is the parking lot. I guess this is how you get out. I'm right here, she right here. I'm going up. When I was coming up, she was coming back. So we both hit each other. The reason I didn't really file no counterclaim because I figured it was both our fault.
No!
That's why I did that.
Well,
where was I going?
That, just a second. Get back there.
Okay.
First of all, you had no business being behind the wheel of a truck or a van or a vehicle if you had been drinking.
Yeah.
Because it clouds your judgment.
Right.
And let me tell you what the police officer said.
Okay.
The police officer said he observed a black van with its passenger side sliding door open as it was attempting to drive around Miss Farmer's vehicle. In trying to do so, the black van side door collided with the right rear taillight of Miss Farmer's car. Mr. Martinez continued driving along the side of Miss Farmer's vehicle, causing more damage. It appeared that Mr. Martinez did not realize that he collided with Miss Farmer's vehicle. You know why that was?
I realized.
All right. So let me see an estimate, please.
I got 2 estimates. The shop that I went to gave me a discount.
Okay, but you had it fixed.
Right.
Well, how much did you pay to have it fixed?
$827.60. Here's the receipt.
Good, great. And I'm surprised that as the police officer didn't cite you for driving while under the influence of alcohol.
I also have rental car receipts because I had to get back and forth to work, and I also had a daughter that needed to get back and forth to school.
Who do you live with?
I live by myself.
I'll see them.
The receipts are in my mother's name because she rented it, but I gave her the money, cash.
All right, the judgment's for $970. That's all. Step out.
Thank you.
Mark Horner claims former tenant Jacob Scott damaged his truck tub cover. Jacob is countersuing for the return of his bed and mountain bike.
Mr. Horner, this sort of comes under the category of no good deed goes unpunished.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
And?
My daughter-in-law.
You and your wife befriended Mr. Scott. He had been a friend of your son's?
Correct.
And at some point, you allowed him to move into your home.
Yes.
Where's your family?
My parents live in Plainville, Massachusetts. I'm currently residing with them.
Was there any reason why you weren't residing with them when you moved in with the Horners?
When I graduated from high school, I kind of made a promise to myself that I wasn't going to be one of those kids that stays living with their parents, and I had moved out. And my roommate at the time decided he wanted to move back in with his parents, and I still, you know, didn't want to move back in and be one of those kids. And they had offered for me to move in and pay rent, so I took them up on the offer, and I was paying $75 a week to live with them.
And you were also doing some work for them?
Yes, ma'am. I was working for Mark as a maintenance worker, and I had also worked during the Patriots games for Mark at one of his sausage stands.
That's your business?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what the lawsuit is about. At some point, Mr. Scott was driving a truck of yours, and he rear-ended somebody and caused some damage to the front end of your truck.
Yes, ma'am.
You agreed with him that he would either pay the deductible, which was $1,000, or fix the truck.
Yes.
Did you do either of those two things?
No, ma'am. When this originally happened...
No, just answer my question. So the answer is no.
No, ma'am.
And sometime later, you and your wife were going away for a holiday. Mr. Scott was remaining in the house, and according to your complaint, you said to him, no parties.
Correct.
You came back unexpectedly because there was a death in the family, and you found evidence of party.
Looked like he partied like a rock star.
And subsequently, you found the hot tub cover ripped.
Not only ripped, but there was food particles, cigarette butts, beer caps floating in the hot tub.
In the hot tub. Nasty.
Nasty.
And you and Mr. Scott then got into a heated discussion. He left.
Correct.
And when he left his bed and his bicycle, which he wants back, which
He
is the
can have
subject of his counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
He says that you told him until you sign a promissory note to pay for the damage to the hot tub and the truck, you don't get your stuff back.
Correct.
Mr. Scott says that you told him to forget about the truck.
When the accident had originally occurred, the deductible, I was told the deductible was $500, and we had come to an agreement where I wouldn't have to pay it because the person he was supposedly selling the truck to hadn't paid anything for it, and the truck was 13 years old and had over 200,000 miles on it, and it was only about a softball-sized dent in the front bumper.
I have pictures of the truck.
Okay, so according to you, he said forget about it.
Yes.
And about the damage to the hot tub?
Actually, I have my witness here, Leanne. She's a friend of mine. She was at the house Sunday when they had come home, and she can testify that there was no rip in the hot tub cover Sunday when we were done, and we were not the last people in the hot tub cover. I had come home Tuesday night with a friend of mine, and Susan and Mark's daughter-in-law and her husband, Susan's son Peter, were in the hot tub, and we believe
You mean
that.
with the sausages and the cigarette butts?
No, that stuff had been taken out and cleaned.
Mr. Scott, the Horners allowed you to live with them, and Mr. Horner is no question asked you not to, no parties. You violated that trust by having a party.
We had actually, I had only had about 5 friends over.
Throughout the entire time that you were there, Mr. Scott?
No, but I never
Mr.
thrown a
Scott,
party
look,
there,
I
no.
want you to watch. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I've had 20-year-olds, a whole gaggle of them. When 20-year-olds know that there's a free house, it's never just 5 people. Mr. Scott, do you understand? So if you want me
Yes,
to
ma'am.
believe other things that you're telling me, and I'm sure you do, I'm going to ask you again. How many people were at the house
There was only 5 people there.
at one time?
Yes, because I had lived in 2 previous houses before I moved in with Mark and Susan, where I paid the mortgage myself, and I had pretty much gotten the partying out of my system. I quit drinking. I don't drink anymore, and it's just we were hanging out, having a good time, trying to unwind on a weekend.
Well, who do you think it was that was a pig in the group of 5 that you had then, who put food in the hot tub and cigarette butts and cans? Which
It was my
one
buddy
of your
Greg.
5 friends?
It was my buddy Greg. He had admitted to it.
He had admitted to it before they found it?
Well, I had told him that they had found parts of a sausage in the hot tub and there were beer caps and everything, and he said, oh, the sausage was probably from me because he was the only one eating in the hot tub.
So I assume that if you had seen him eating in the hot tub, Mr. Scott, we don't do that.
I should have.
Did you see him?
I did, and I didn't say anything to him.
Did you see him smoking in the hot tub?
I did. Everybody was smoking in the hot tub.
And throwing their cigarette butts in the hot tub?
I didn't see anybody throw a cigarette butt in the hot tub. And
Well,
I
did you
didn't-
take out ashtrays for everybody?
There were ashtrays out there.
Did anybody use them? You must have been aware of that unless you had been drinking.
Yes, ma'am, people did use them. The next day, when we were going through the hot tub, we had only found parts of sausages in the filter. I didn't see any cigarette butts in the hot tub at all. And
Well,
I didn't
Mr.
see any
Scott,
beer
let me
caps.
tell you this. When you abuse a privilege, I have to assume that the people who disrespected the Horners' property also ripped their cover.
Okay.
Because otherwise, why would Mr. Horner claim, after being so nice to you, they were nice to you, weren't they?
Well, the whole relationship we had was there was a lot of verbal abuse there. Mark especially was constantly putting me down, calling me, and I'm quoting him here, he was always calling me a dump. Him and his wife were both always calling me a dump. He called me a pardon my French, on numerous occasions, and he used to go around bragging to everybody that I was his, because I was helping out around the house and still paying $75 a week. And I had just, at the time, I had just gone with all of this because I didn't want to cause any tension because I was living there under their roof.
Do you have children?
I do.
How many children?
I have 3 children.
How old are they?
My oldest is 23, and then I have
Where is the 23-year-old?
My 23-year-old is in the service. He's stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky.
And then you have a?
I have a 20-year-old.
Where is that child?
He lives with his girlfriend.
Well, that doesn't warm my heart. And what else?
And I have a 16-year-old at home.
And I have a 9-year-old.
Who lives with?
Her mother.
Who you visit?
Constantly.
And support?
Yes.
Mr. Scott says that you called him a lot of vile names. Is that true?
I definitely called him a dump.
When did you do that?
He got, I believe it was his 12th or 13th moving violation and lost his driver's license. So we particularly told him that he was a dumb for that. He lost...
Just a second.
It was my 8th in 4 years.
Just a second. 8th in 4 years?
Yes, ma'am.
He's right.
Ma'am, that wasn't the only occasion.
Just a second. Well, I'm going to get the rest of them. But right now, that would have been worth at least a couple. You know, I could tell that you are presenting yourself as a young man who is totally responsible and thoughtful, and you sound that way.
Thank you.
But I'm looking at these people and I'm saying to myself, this is not a couple that brought you into their home to use as a slave and berate you. So I want to find out if they did, in fact, call you a dumb, if they had good reason to do that. 8 moving violations in 4 years fits.
He also had 2 while he was waiting for his suspension to come over.
And so that was worth at least 2 more.
Yeah, so they took his license away.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's sort of cut to the chase here because I don't want to torture you any further.
Thank you.
You have to... You're welcome. Because I don't want to hear anything else about you because you wore a tie to court and speak well, and I'm sure you're going to try to put your life together. This is your...
This is my friend, Leanne.
Not a girlfriend?
No.
You weren't eating sausages in the hot tub, Leanne. You have to give him back his bed and his bike. He's going to pick it up within 5 days.
Thank you.
I'd like to see the pictures of the truck.
Ma'am?
What?
The one thing I'm concerned about with the bed is there was an incident back when Mark's father died where he was having some trouble with his brother, and he had actually taken pictures of him urinating on his brother's bed, and I'm just worried that they had done something to my bed while it was in their possession.
I'm not going to dignify that question with an answer. Do you want your bed back or not?
Yes, ma'am.
I have pictures of the bed, Your Honor, if you want to see them.
No, I don't have to see pictures of the bed. I'm looking at the front end of this truck. It looks like a little dent, sir. Does it interfere with its driving?
It does not interfere with its driving. There's a tow hook that was smashed off the bottom of it. The grill is cracked. I have an estimate here from the body shop.
Let me see the estimate. Okay. How much is a new hot tub cover, or how do you fix that?
It wasn't, it had to be replaced. Here's the receipt. It was $400.
How much was it?
It was $398 plus tax.
He's responsible for the tax. How much was the tax?
$420.
You living back with your folks, Mr. Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you going to do with yourself?
Actually, in October, I'm going to be moving down to St. Petersburg, Florida.
To do what?
For a change, I'm going to become a construction worker down there. That's what I do up here, but just to get away from New England and a new scenery.
Where it's
really.
warm.
Exactly.
Who do you know in St. Petersburg?
A friend of mine lives down there, so a close friend of mine. I grew up with her, so she's got an apartment down there. She's going to school down there, and
You might want to try that, Mr. Scott. School is not terrible.
I was thinking about it, but I work 7 days a week now. I love to work. Both my jobs, I landscape on the weekends, and I'm a construction worker on the weekdays.
You have your driver's license back?
No, ma'am, I do not. I actually get it back in 21 days.
Try to hold on to it this time, please.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Scott. Get your bed back and your bike in 5 days. Judgment for the plaintiff on your claim, $1,420. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Elizabeth Rivera says her ex-boyfriend's girlfriend, Athena Hernandez, bit off the tip of her pinky finger during a fight. Athena is countersuing, claiming Elizabeth vandalized her truck.
Miss Rivera, the defendant is your ex-husband's current girlfriend.
Correct.
And according to your complaint, outside of school, an incident occurred where she attacked and assaulted you. You want to be compensated for that injury. It resulted in severe damage to a finger. Ms. Hernandez says you initiated this altercation by damaging her car. Fight ensued. You may have gotten the worst of the fight, but you started it. And she is counterclaiming for the damage that she alleges you did to her car that day, and also for the fact that she lost her job because of this incident and lost wages. That's your counterclaim.
Yes.
How long were you married to the ex-husband?
13 years.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
How old?
12 and 8.
What's his first name?
Jose.
When were you divorced?
I wasn't legally married. Common law.
Common law in what state?
New York.
There's no common law in New York unless it was before 1933. And from looking at you, you didn't live with him in 1933, so that you were never married to Jose.
No.
But you were together for 13 years.
Correct.
Come, you never married him.
I wasn't ready to get married.
You were ready to have 2 children with him, but not get married.
Exactly.
I always understood that. It was always clear as a bell to me. When did you separate?
We were together 13 years, and we separated a couple of years ago, like maybe 4 years ago.
And when did you meet Jose? You have children with him?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
6.
So you were with him when he was living with her?
No. According to me, he wasn't living with her.
Your child is, there's a 2-year age difference between your child and hers.
Yes.
How long have you been living together?
Going on 4 years.
Well, for the 4 years before that, where was he living?
In his own apartment.
Sounds like some bargain. What does Jose do for a living?
He's a broker, an insurance broker.
How long has he done that?
About maybe 6 years.
Does he make a living?
Yes, he does.
How much money does he earn?
About maybe $35,000, $36,000.
Does Jose pay child support?
No, he doesn't.
How do you support your children?
He provides for them.
How do you support your children?
He supports them.
How much does he send you?
He doesn't send me anything. If they was to need anything, he'll go buy it for them.
That's not supporting your children, Miss Rivera. Do you work?
No, I don't.
Well, who supports you? Is not an answer.
The city.
The state?
The state.
And how long have you been a recipient of state assistance?
About 19 years.
19 years. Well, that's the reason you didn't marry Jose.
Yeah.
That's the answer. I knew, you follow the money, you always get to the answer. That's a reason for not getting married. So Jose works as an insurance broker. The state pays for your 2 children, and Jose has another family. Who do you work for?
For myself.
What kind of work do you do?
Insurance broker.
For the same company?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you worked for them?
It's mine. It's an actual brokerage. I own my own brokerage.
Does he work for you?
Yes.
How long has he worked for you?
6 years.
Is he a paid employee or on commission?
No, he's a paid employee.
And what's the name of your company?
Popular Multi-Service.
Where are they located?
In the Bronx.
Perfect. State of New York is going to send me a big gold star for this one. Now, tell me when this incident took place.
It took place on February 5th, 7:30 in the morning.
Tell me what happened, Miss Rivera.
Okay, I was taking my kids to school at 7:30 in the morning because they have to be inside by 8 o'clock. So as I'm approaching the school, I see Athena Hernandez coming out of the school. And then as I'm getting closer, she's running back in the school. So as I'm approaching inside the school, she's coming out. And she's coming out saying a smart remark.
Just tell me what she said.
She said, haha, I have a car.
Go ahead.
So I looked at her, I was like, come on, boys, let's keep on going inside. That's not necessary. So I gave them my blessings, I walked them inside, and then I stood about 10 minutes inside. I came out, she's still out there, parked in front of the school. She pulled down her window, she started cursing at me, and she spit at me. So I spit at her right back. And I continued walking home. As I continue walking home, I'm turning the corner, ready to cross the street. As I'm crossing the street, she turns the car in a one-way, she eats the stop sign, and she hits me with the car. I got surprised, I fell down. So as I'm getting up, she rushes out the car and she starts attacking me. So I'm trying to defend myself. So I'm trying to unzip my coat to put my hands up. So I finally took off my coat and she kept on attacking me, and then she snatched my coat, ran back in the car. So at that moment I was like, help, help, somebody, can I have a cell phone to call 911? I need to call 911. I'm being attacked. Somebody finally let me call. So I'm like, help, 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 please come. I'm being assaulted over here. So I see her rushing back out. She's like, calling your son? Who are you calling, huh? When I see her coming out, I pick up the stick to start her to see if the cops come. And I'm taking off my boots. And I'm like, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave me alone.
You're taking off your boots?
Yeah, because I had some boots up to my knees, and they were high, and they were tight, and I kept on falling. So to have my balance and protect myself, and I'm like, leave me alone already, leave me alone. The cops are coming, leave me alone. She was like, no. She smacks the stick out of my hand, and she attacks me. And I feel somebody else behind me push me against the gate, and she just kept on hitting me, boom, 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 boom. And I kept on defending myself, and she bit my finger. And she said, ha, look at your finger on the floor, and that's when the cops came. And I was just, it hurted so much, it was unbelievable.
So it was the tip of your pinky finger that she bit off?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Hernandez, tell me your version of the events.
Okay, my child and her 2 children attend the same school. It's not the first time that we see each other, but every time we see each other, she has something to say, whether it's indirect, under her breath, whatever. Usually I just let it go, you know, give her a, you know, smirk, whatever. This morning...
Let me stop you just for a second, just for my own information. Are you nice to Jose?
Yeah.
Are you nice to Jose?
Yes.
Because you said nice things about him before. You said if the kids need anything, he gets it for them. And I assume that you're still living with him, that you think he's a nice guy.
Correct.
And I assume you don't like her.
I don't have anything against her.
I assume you're not crazy about her because I believe that there is this underlying current of animus, anger, that the 2 of you have, and you're not crazy about her. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that I don't understand. You see, you look like 2 relatively normal women. Jose's the bad guy, not you. He was 2-timing you. He was 2-timing you. There's no question in my mind. So you all make up with Jose and fight with each other. 2 women fighting with each other when the bad guy is off doing what he's doing, maybe with somebody. Never can tell. That's his history. That just is so foolish to me. And you're not the first 2 women that I've seen do this kind of ridiculous fighting over some worthless piece of trash guy who doesn't support his children, lets the state do it, lived a lie for at least 4 years. Why do you look puzzled, madam?
Because according to what I know, the state supports her.
State supports the children unless he provides support through the court. The state supports her children. That's why she didn't marry him, or that's why he didn't marry her. They had a little extra cash. He's not going to have that extra cash anymore because they're going to attach his salary, which you just swore under oath that you paid him the last 6 years. They're going to go back and take it out for 6 years' worth of money. Let's move on with February 5th at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm getting out of my vehicle, dropping off my daughter. I run into school. It was freezing that day. As I'm leaving the school, she's entering the school with her 2 children. She tells her oldest son, I'm just effing showing off. I look at her, I said, you know what, why don't you just take your kids into school and shut up? I don't have effing time for this. I'm going towards my truck.
Nice talk in front of the children.
I go towards my truck.
Both of you, as a matter of fact. Because I absolutely believe that that happened.
First of all, I go towards my truck. She puts her kids through, there's 1 door, 2nd door, leaves them in there, runs back out, starts taking off her coat, telling me, I've been dying to kick your for the last 8 years. Get out of the truck. I'm in the truck, and I'm laughing at her while she's taking off her clothes. Mind you, it's 8 degrees outside. Now she starts kicking my passenger door, gets in front of my truck, bangs on the hood. I'm honking the horn for her to get out of the way. I can't drive fast because there's parents dropping off their children, and we're in front of a school and they have speed bumps. If not, I would have went around and kept going. Couldn't do that. I went up, moved up a little, she moved over, right? As I'm going towards, there was a stop sign.
Just a minute, you have a big business?
It's a small business, not that big.
In case somebody has to reach you at your business when you're out with your child, how do they do that?
My cell phone.
Which works?
Which I didn't have.
I don't believe that. You don't walk out of the house in 8-degree weather in a car without your cell phone.
Your Honor, I didn't even have a bra on.
I don't care whether you had your bra. You may go out without a bra, but nobody goes out without their cell phone. So I don't believe that.
Okay.
Absolutely don't believe that you didn't have your cell phone. So if you have this nut banging on your car looking to fight with you, what is the last thing you do, Miss Hernandez? The last thing you do. You have a nutty person, takes off her coat in 8-degree weather, starts banging on your car, damaging your car. What is the last thing a woman does? Gets out of the car. So what I want to know is, how did her finger get bitten off if you stayed in the car?
I didn't stay in the car.
Why not?
Because she spit at me through the window.
First of all, why is the window open if it's 8 degrees outside?
Because
when it's 8 degrees outside, when I used to live in New York, the first thing I did was make sure those windows were up and the heat was on, not keep the windows down. So why, Miss Hernandez, would the windows down?
I rolled down the passenger window.
For what?
To curse her out and tell her to go home.
Got it?
Got it.
You have some crazy person who's attacked your car, who's hell-bent on attacking you. Why in the world would a businesswoman who has apparently a successful small business, so she's savvy, Why would she get out of the car where she's safe to confront some lunatic?
Years.
Why would you do that?
Because I was tired of her. I was tired of her.
So you got out of the car to beat her up?
No, to return the favor.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Don't believe that for a minute. Not for a second. I believe you got out of the car to beat her up. That's what you did. You got out of the car to beat her up. And Miss Rivera, there isn't a question in my mind that you attacked her car. Not a question in my mind that the situation happened exactly the way you told me it happened, with a few minor changes, that she beat you up because she was furious. And there isn't a question in my mind that she banged on your car before you got out of the car and beat her up. Now, who is this, by the way?
This is my son. He's been supporting me through my pain and suffering.
You wouldn't have had any pain and suffering if you hadn't started to rail on her car.
Your Honor, this has been going on for a long time.
Miss Rivera, I'm not interested in a long time.
She's been sending me letters through the mail and harassing me and everything.
Were you arrested?
Many years ago.
Arrested for this case?
Well, yes. Correct.
Were you arrested?
Yes.
For this case?
Yes.
And what happened when you went to court on this case, Miss Rivera? Because you were arrested, I assume, for either vandalism or harassment. What happened with that case?
They just gave me a fine of $95. They were going to give me a misdemeanor, but they saw that...
Don't tell me what they saw. You must have pled guilty if you had to pay a fine.
Yes, I did.
What did you plead guilty to?
To, vandalizing.
Right. There you go. That's exactly what I surmised happened. You vandalized her car, and you pled guilty to that in a criminal proceeding.
They didn't tell me it was for her vehicle. They just said it's for the...
For vandalizing. What did you think you were vandalizing? The snow?
Well, she
vandalizing her car.
She can't prove that I did anything.
Miss Rivera, you pled guilty in a criminal proceeding. Finished. It's over. Now, Miss Hernandez, you were arrested for assault.
Yes, correct.
And what happened with that case? Were you found guilty?
Yeah.
For assaulting her?
Yes.
Oh, this case is over. Wish I would have known that before we started. You have to pay for her injuries because you pled guilty to assaulting her.
She didn't pay for medical bills. The state did.
No, no, no. I'm not giving her a dime for her medical bills because she don't have any medical bills. But you assaulted her. She has to be compensated for that. And you have to pay for her truck because you started it.
Why would I have to pay if she don't have no evidence I did anything to her?
Oh, yes, she does. Because you pled guilty to vandalizing her truck. Now, you have pictures of the truck?
No, I have an estimate.
I'd like to take a look at it. And is that the finger that she bit?
Yes, and I have the estimate of my finger, too.
I don't need an estimate for your finger. You have Medicaid, is that correct?
Yes, I do, but Medicaid doesn't pay to fix my finger.
Nothing you can do.
I have to estimate on that.
There is absolutely nothing you can do to fix your finger. Absolutely nothing. They cannot reattach it anymore.
Yes, they could. I have it here. What they're going to do to it and everything.
Listen to me. Not at this stage of the game. Now, you have any other children other than these two children?
I have one more, which is Jose.
That's it?
3 boys, yes.
His father is not Jose.
No.
How old are you?
20.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a sales associate at Macy's on 34th Street.
And
I go to college, John Jay.
Perfect. You get along with Jose?
Somewhat.
Smart. On your claim, Miss Rivera, I am awarding you for pain and suffering $1,500. I would have ordered more, except you precipitated this attack by vandalizing her car.
But she also...
I'm speaking. I'm ruling now. I heard you. I'm awarding you $800 on your counterclaim to fix your car, which I am deducting from her award. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Which means, Miss Rivera, $700, because I've deducted the $800 that she's getting for the truck. I'm speaking, and you get nothing, but you get your truck fixed. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to suggest, if you are two decent human beings, and you both made the mistake of falling for Jose, you put this animosity to rest. It should be over. You don't want him anymore. You got him for now. Maybe you won't have him in 5 years, but you got him for now. You may not be happy when they start taking money out of his pay. A whole bunch of money, because that's what they're going to do. That's what the state of New York's going to do. You can't escape your responsibility. If you make children, you have to support them. And is there any reason why you don't work? What are you looking over here for? Is there any reason why you don't work?
Yes, I don't work because my reading is not too great.
You don't have to read for every job.
If you can find me one, I'm willing to work.
It's not my job to look for a job for you, madam.
No one wants
You've been on welfare 19 years. It's time to move on. There are lots of jobs that you can do where you don't have to be able to read War and Peace. That's all. Step out.
Melissa Kina says her daughter, Jamie Jaworski, owes for 2 unpaid loans. Jamie says her mother is conspiring with her ex-husband to ruin her life.
Miss Keenis, this is your daughter.
Yes, it is.
Does she have any siblings?
Yes, she does.
How many?
2, a brother and a sister. She's the oldest.
Is she a cute baby?
Gorgeous.
Is she a nice baby?
Yeah, very well-mannered.
Must have been, because you had 2 more.
Yeah.
Well, you're not getting along so much anymore, and it is your claim that your daughter owes you the balance of 2 loans. One loan that you made to her several years ago in order to permit her to open up a business. That loan was for $10,000, and she's paid back a substantial part of that loan.
That's correct.
Over the course of the last 3 or 4 years. You were opening a beauty salon, and you were able to do that through the loan from your mom.
Exactly.
The second loan was for $2,000, and that was more recently, and that was to permit her to get an attorney because she was going through a divorce.
Correct.
With regard to that $2,000, your daughter says there was never any discussion of a loan, that you were ecstatic that she was divorcing the husband, and you agreed to help her secure an attorney so that she could
That's not true, Your Honor.
so that she could successfully conclude the divorce process. So let's deal with the first loan. When was that, Ms. Jaworski?
It would have been in August because I bought the business. I took possession
August of
it.
what year?
03.
And it was for $10,000?
Yes.
Was there supposed to be interest paid on the loan?
No.
Well, tell me how you were going to make this loan with no interest.
I knew that she had money left over from my grandmother's estate.
Put your hand down. What do you mean left over?
Well, my grandmother didn't take care of things how you're supposed to, and so all of the money that was left out of her estate went to the state for her care. But there was somehow this money left over that the state didn't know about. I knew of $10,000.
Okay, go ahead.
And so I asked my mom if I could borrow that $10,000 from her because I knew it was in the bank sitting there, and so that there wouldn't be interest or anything on it because we already had the money.
Well, there would be interest on it. If she loans you $10,000, then she's losing the interest on $10,000 for as long as it takes you to pay her back.
There was never any discussion of it.
But you do understand that.
I understand what you're saying, but in my mind, it wasn't that way.
I don't care what
It
was in
just
your
sitting
mind.
there.
What I'm telling you is, if your mother takes the money out of the bank, then she's losing interest on it, so there is a loss. I also don't understand why she should make this loan to you without interest when you have a brother and a sister. Why would she just let you have it all yourself?
Because it was just going to be a loan. It was going to be paid back.
In what period of time?
There was no set period of time. Because when you open a business, you never know. Most businesses fail in the first 5 years. And
Well,
so,
what happens if your business failed? You mean you weren't going to pay her back the money?
Well, no, I never intended not to pay her back the money.
But you just said most businesses fail within the first few years. What happens if your business failed?
Well, if my business failed, I would still have to pay her, but it was just to help me out. It was my mom helping me out. It was family helping family out.
But she didn't take that money out of the bank.
At the last minute, she had decided that she was going to pull it off of a credit card because she was nervous about the state finding out that she still had that money.
You mean she didn't think that they would find out about it if she kept it in the bank? Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. I'm listening to the story. So she wanted to take it off of her credit card rather than take it out of the bank because she was afraid that the state would find out.
Well, she was worried that
Go
they
ahead.
would find out and then she wouldn't have the money sitting there.
Keep going.
No, that's really what happened.
Keep going.
And so at the last minute, she decided to pull it with 0 interest. And either way, it wouldn't matter. There was
Zero
no
interest for how long? Forever?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You're in business. You don't have 0 interest forever, maybe for a year or two, but not forever.
I never saw any of the credit card information. I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
Well, let's understand this. You knew at the time that you accepted this loan that it was coming off of a credit card. Is that right, Ms. Jaworski?
At the last minute, yes.
I don't care if it's the last minute or the last second. You always could say no.
I know, but I'd already given
Listen to me. You always could say no.
Mm-hmm. And then if I had...
Who cares what happens if you had? If you had, you go to work in somebody else's beauty parlor. Now, there was 0 interest. And as a business person, you know that 0 interest isn't forever. It's for a fixed period of time. Which was for how long?
2 years.
That brings us up to 2005. As of August 2005, how much money did you give her?
I haven't split it out. These are just the statements that I have until then.
Well,
I didn't
please-
add that up.
I don't do that. Math wasn't my strong suit.
Me either.
You either? Then you
No.
shouldn't be in business. But if you didn't pay her back in the 2-year period of time when there was 0 interest on the credit card, you owe her whatever the interest is. End of discussion. Now, how much is on the credit card?
On the credit
Not with the $2,000 for the lawyer? I'm not dealing with that yet.
Well, it was all on one credit card, and the balance due on it when she stopped making the payment was $4,995.
Show me.
Ma'am, before you roll, can I say something else?
Well, this is not the last one. That's after I've made a payment, but...
Can I see that bird, please?
I've made like the last 6 or 7 payments on it.
Now, you wanted to say something, Ms. Jaworski?
I do, because the interest situation. She had said when we put it on that credit card that if the interest came due, that she would either take the money out of the estate and put it back on there. So I would never, the agreement was never any interest. It really wasn't.
Listen to me. You knew at the time she was taking out an interest-free loan for 2 years in order to cover this loan that she was making for you. You had 2 years to pay her back. You didn't. Then interest develops, and whether she takes the money out of the bank and loses interest, you still have to pay. Now tell me about the $2,000 for the lawyer.
When we were going through the divorce, or when Chris...
When was that?
That would have been in 2000, I believe, 5.
Now, by 2005, we were starting to get some interest on this loan.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay, well, so then we're going through our divorce, and I didn't have the money to retain a lawyer. At first, we were just going to do it ourselves. And I was telling her that he was going to try to get custody of the children from me, and that I needed to retain a lawyer. And what I don't understand is she hated...
Just don't tell me anything other than what happened. Not what you don't understand, not what you do understand. Not interested in what you understood. Tell me what happened. Now, you were crying to your mother that your ex-husband was going to try to get custody of the children, and you couldn't afford a lawyer. You didn't have any money.
Basically. And
Right.
she said not to worry
And?
about it, that she would take care of it. And she sent me 2 checks.
From where?
From her credit card.
And?
And she wasn't worried about me paying her back. I didn't know how I was going to end up financially after the divorce.
How did you end up financially after the divorce?
I ended up giving him basically everything. I got $20,000 equity out of the house, of which I gave her a check for $4,000.
You did give her a big check.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got $20,000 from the sale of the house, why didn't you pay her back everything that you owed her?
Because I was buying another house, and I was trying to have a little nest egg in case when you're employed by yourself, it's always good to have a little money back up.
Well, but if the only nest egg your mother had was the $10,000 she had of your grandmother's money, why should you have a nest egg and not her?
I don't know, I've really thought about it that way.
But isn't that a nice way to think about it, Ms. Jaworski? I mean, how old are you?
I'm 37.
And how old is your mother?
My mom must be 57.
Yesterday.
So if somebody has to sort of struggle to put together a nest egg, isn't it easier for you, who's starting a new business, to put together a nest egg than your mother, who's 57? Especially since you spent the money. So it's real nice of you to want to have a nest egg all by yourself. But if what you're suggesting is that your mother said, well, if you don't pay the note back in the 2 years, that it's interest-free, you'll take the money out of your nest egg.
No, that wasn't the way it is. I think.
Well,
you're
that's what you just told me.
But
I'm just following what you told me.
I think you're misinterpreting it.
No, that's what you told me.
No, it's not.
Does that sound what you just told me?
Sounds like what she told you.
That she would take the money out of her nest egg and pay off the credit card and wait for you to finish putting your nest egg together so you would pay her. Duh.
If you have a business and you don't have operating capital and you don't have money to buy and bring things in and out, you can't run a business. And so that's what I used the other part of that money for. Was
That's not what you just told me.
It is. I had it.
No,
in a
that's
little...
not what you just told me.
I had it set aside so if something happened with
You
the business
just-
that I could keep it going.
That's your nest egg.
Well, I had to because if
You
I
owe your
lose,
mother $4,000.
If I lose the shop,
You owe your mother $4,000. And I gather that the reason she's here is because you stopped paying her, according to your mother, because you had an estranged relationship for a while. Why, I don't know.
because she's seeing my ex-husband.
Well, that's what you say. That's what you say.
That's not true. I'm seeing my grandchildren.
That's
in her
what you
ex-husband's
say.
house.
I think that makes it very convenient for you, Ms. Jaworski,
I think-
because she wasn't seeing her grandchildren, and she wrote a letter, according to her,
Correct.
to her grandson when he was at his father's house, and his father called her and said, if you want to see the boys, you can see them, and she's been seeing them at your ex-husband's house, which ticked you off. So you stopped paying the loan. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000.
Thank you very
That's all.
much.
Marco Abrigo is suing his children's grandmother, Christina Strickland, for the return of 2 child support payments. Christina is countersuing for the unpaid medical expenses of Marco's children.
Mr. Abrigo, it is your claim that you paid child support to the defendant who was caring for your 2 children. for 5 years. And the last 2 payments that you made to her, which were deducted from your salary, I assume, were made when the children had been returned to their mother. And you want those 2 payments back. Ms. Strickland says she took care of your 2 children for 5 years. You owe her a fortune of money, and she's counterclaiming. So I have a few questions for you, sir, before I make very, very short work out of you. When did your children go to live with Ms. Strickland?
2001, I believe.
What do you mean you believe? I would know the exact moment that my children were removed from my custody.
I don't know the exact date that we signed over the children, but it was towards the end. I'm going to say September of 2001.
And you signed custody over to Ms. Strickland because you and their mother were neglecting them. And but for Ms. Strickland, the state would have taken them. Fair statement?
No.
You just decided you had enough being a parent?
No.
What was it?
Well, the way it went down is the mother of the children and Ms. Strickland were talking, and because I was going to be going away.
Going away to where? Summer camp?
I was possibly going to be incarcerated, and she would not be able to take care of the children.
Why not?
I do not know.
Were you living together at the time?
No, we were not. We were not
So
together.
what difference did it make whether you were in jail or on Mars? She was still alone taking care of the children. When were you in jail, sir? From when to when?
Basically from January of 2002 to November 2002.
And in that year, the children were with Miss Strickland.
Yes, they were.
And how much support were you sending while you were in jail?
None.
None? Who was supporting your children?
Ms. Strickland.
And when did you make that year up to her?
Well, when I did get out of 2002, I didn't make it up to her financially, but through 2003 to the beginning of 2004, February, I had the kids in the excess of about 200 days.
I'm talking about when you were in prison, sir. You paid nothing for the support of your 2 children.
I paid nothing.
Nothing. I assume that you got 2 jobs so that you could pay Miss Strickland, who was a total stranger to you. She was the step-grandmother of the children. You got 2 jobs so you could start paying her back all the money she spent on taking care of the children. Didn't you?
No, I did not.
Well, then you've got some nerve being here. For 2 payments? Because they went to her instead of going to the mother of the children?
I'm only going by what the court is telling me to go by.
This court is telling you to go home. After I would have made you bend down and kiss her feet for taking care of your children for 5 years. So I have no idea what you're doing here. What you're doing here is nonsense. Listen, Miss Strickland.
Yes, ma'am.
But for the fact that he sued you for this nonsense, you would not be here. Is that correct?
Probably.
Probably. Because you didn't expect anything from him?
Never.
And pretty much that's exactly what you got.
Exactly. May I say something, please?
Absolutely.
My grandchildren have been living with their mom since August of 2006. He has not sent 1 penny to support those kids up until this point.
Is what she's saying correct? Would you get him out of here? I cannot stand to look at him. Your case is
Parties are
dismissed.
excused. You
That's
may
all.
step out.